You think Brooks Koepka is more famous than Connor McDavid?
Oh, man.
Oh, fuck.
Yes.
I think he is.
Connor McDavid could punch me in the face, and I'd be like, why did that random stranger just punch me in the face?
No, you would know who he is, dude.
I don't. I know who he is. I know that.
You wouldn't know what he looks like?
No.
Foreplay presented by Barstool Sports, brought to you by Chevrolet. I had actually, on Thursday afternoon, we had a couple Chevy folks in town. I got a couple cocktails with them. They're big fans of what we do, fantastic people. So there's no brand I would rather represent than Chevrolet. So we love them for coming on. Chevy EVs for everyone everywhere. Kind of a weird week, kind of a weird time in the schedule. Feels like we're in a holding pattern. There's all this momentum from the Players' Championship, from Austin and the match play, and then people being sad about the match play, and it's kind of over, and that happened yesterday, and we got fucked out of the Rory versus Scottie thing and just a complete snooze fest in the final, and now we've got just a holding pattern because next week is obviously Masters week. This week is the Valero Texas Open, which is pretty much, I always view it as like the Ian Poulter made the putt to get into the Masters tournament a handful of years ago.
That
but
did
other
happen.
than that, maybe they throw a amateur up there. Maybe this might have been where Jordan Spieth got his start when he was like 15 years old. So they try to spice this thing up occasionally. But pretty much we got 7 days till people care. Probably 5 or 6 days because next weekend we're going to have the Anwa. We're going to have Tiger Woods might show up on Sunday afternoon with just his wedge and walk around and chip like he did in 2019 when he won. So we're probably 4 or 5 days away from starting to get some real juice going. But we're in kind of a weird spot. So I got quite a few interesting things for us to talk about that I dug up from the internet. We got Succession is back. We got a weird-ass Brooks Koepka video. We got Mike Trout and Tiger Woods doing a golf course together. So it's kind of a weird week. We're going to talk about some weird stuff.
Before we get into that, what is the plan with match play for the PGA Tour? Do they have one?
They do not have a plan. That tournament is not going to be there next year.
They don't have a plan.
I know, it's crazy. It's not going to be there next year at Austin Country Club. That is for sure. As of right now, there's no guarantee that any of the designated events will be match play next year, which would be a huge, huge bummer because yes, the final wasn't great, but everything before the final was electric. And it happens sometimes. Sometimes you get a bad Super Bowl. Sometimes you get a bad March Madness final. Doesn't mean that the week itself wasn't fantastic. And Sunday morning with Rory against Sam Burns going into extra holes Scottie against Sam Burns going into extra holes and Rory against Cam Young. I mean, that was about as good as it gets. It went out with a bang.
It did, but what a bad reverse of fate. Because I'm sitting there in my bed on a typical Sunday, going in and out of consciousness, snoozing, ordering breakfast food, 3 different seamless orders, actually Uber Eats orders, and I pass out at one point. Both those guys are 2 up with like 4 holes left or whatever. And I'm like, great. When I wake back up, we're going to be a couple holes into just an iconic final. I fucking wake up and it's like Sam Burns is 15 up on him. I'm like, what? What is going on here? So just a big time bummer for them. I'm going to have to guess that in a shocking twist of fate for all golf Twitter people, that the same narratives about how awesome match play are on golf Twitter are not being reflected upon on the business side, because otherwise they wouldn't get rid of this thing, right? Because every single person is like, can't believe we're going to lose match play. I'm shedding tears. I love match play as well. It's like devastating that it's gone, but it simply cannot be just delivering on the business front, on ratings, on everything else in some phenomenal fashion. Otherwise they just wouldn't be getting rid of it, right?
But you can't, not every single week I think can be like, let's just slut ourselves out to ratings, and like 1 week a year I think can sort of
each
cater
one
to
is
the
its
core
own
fan.
event, right? Each one's its own event. It's not like the tour doesn't get to play averages throughout the whole year. You got fucking Dell Technologies and Dell being like, this is our fucking thing. This is our week. This is what we're doing. Austin Country Club is part of that 1 week. That's their deal. This is where it fits in the schedule. Everybody's going back and forth with designation and all the whole deal. So it's not like the tour gets to really decide at the end of the day, as crazy as that sounds, that like, no, this is better for everyone and it's good for the brand. And we're going to we're going to understand that most golfers play match play. So we get to do a match play event. They kind of have to look at everyone in a silo, don't they?
Yeah, they do have to, yes, which is why, and I wrote about this in the article that's coming out in a bit, which is why and I totally understand if that's BarstoolSports.com. I totally understand if one sponsor doesn't want to waste their week or risk this becoming their week, then Let's have the tour take it into their own hands, make the back half of the tour championship match play. I mean, people have been talking about it for a long time. You'd have the same format up until the last 2 rounds of the tour championship, where the top 30 after BMW make it. You keep the staggered scoring, so you like reward the guys for their season-long play. And then after 2 rounds on Friday, the top 8 advance to Saturday and Sunday, single elimination. You got 8 guys. You play 36 on Saturday, 36 on Sunday for 18 million or 20 million or whatever the payout's going to be. I think that would be fantastic because you already risk Sunday of the Tour Championship becoming kind of a snooze if someone's ahead by a lot. I mean, that's happened before. And so there's already only 30 players playing. So the whole like, oh, we lose all the stars doesn't really, most of the guys aren't in contention come Sunday afternoon. So I think it would add, and look, it's not like the Tour Championship has been a runaway success. That's why they've been tweaking the format constantly. So if match play is going to disappear from the regular schedule for all the reasons that you mentioned, why not have it in the playoffs?
So you stagger it the first 2 days, and then the result of the first 2 days, that's how the seeding goes into effect.
Correct. So the guy who starts with 10 under, the guy who's leading the
still
FedEx
do
Cup.
Are we still doing net scoring on Friday, Saturday, or Thursday?
Still
Friday?
do net because you want the number 1 guy who's leading the FedEx Cup all year to be like a virtual shoe-in to get in. And I actually think like it would reward season-long play even more for the top 8, and getting to the top 8 would really mean something. You'd say, oh, this guy's made match play at the Tour Championship the last 4 years. Like that would be a new category that people could put on their resume. I just think it's such a good format. You'd have 8 big names because they'd be the 8 best players for the whole year, and having them go face. And the consolation matches would be electric too, because the difference between 3rd in the FedEx Cup and 4th in the FedEx Cup is like $2 million. So it'd be like a $2 million money match.
You definitely need to do it in a way that's digestible. Single elimination is always the way to go. Sometimes when like guys trying to get out of the groups, I think sometimes people get confused by that. But once it gets down to the last few matches and it's single elimination, that's where the money is. And again, Riggs makes a good point about business. I don't know how it's viewed, if it's doing well. I can't imagine it's doing worse. That like if it's doing average, I still think it's a worthwhile thing to put on television and to have on the calendar.
Yeah. I just don't. That would just be my guess. Just looking at the writing on the wall, like it can't be. Otherwise, I just don't think they would be, getting rid of it. Or I feel like another sponsor, if Dell's out, Austin Country Club's out, I feel like another sponsor would have pounced on this months ago or a year ago, whenever they heard they were going to be out, been like, "Fuck yeah, we get to be the match play crew." And it doesn't sound like from all the RIP, vibes from last weekend, it doesn't feel like that's the case. So. Chevrolet, trusted company, boys and girls. It's been doing it for over 100 years. I was actually watching some history stuff this past weekend on YouTube, especially when I tuned out of the match yesterday because it just wasn't what the match that I was hoping it was going to be. The history of the car is pretty amazing, and how the car was for a while just not for everybody. It was basically this exclusive thing, and there's like a board that owned all the patents, like the patent to just automobiles. And the fact they've gone from that now, and that Chevy's been there for 100 years, and that they're doing EVs for everyone everywhere. And they're doing not just EVs, but they're doing the EVs in the lines that we've come to know and love, like the Silverado. They've got the Bolt. They've got the Blazer. We talked about the Vet. It's just a great marriage of history, of a brand that you guys have come to know and love like I have, and obviously the modern technology.
They're kind of going through a similar thing now, right? With the EVs, where you were saying originally where cars were just kind of like, who can actually get these and afford these? Electric vehicles went through something very similar, where it's like when they first hit the market, it was like, oh, only, the rich of the rich can get these. Chevy is now proving that, and they're adapting where now the electric vehicles are available to everyone.
There's over 1,900 certified Chevy EV dealerships. So go in, check out a Chevy EV dealership, see what's on the table, see what the options are. I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised. They've got convenient ways over at Chevy to research and shop EVs online as well. So jump on their website and check them out. Up to now, most electric vehicles have been either too expensive, too small, or too limited in capabilities for most people. Not anymore. Chevy EVs for everyone, everywhere. We talk about this every single year, but match play is pretty much what 95% of golfers play. When you go out with your buddies, you play match play. If you can't really win the hole, you pick up as you should. You move on, you laugh. Oh, yeah, write me down for a 4 there, boys. And it's great. Everybody has a better time. When you go to Europe or the UK, where golf was literally originated, a lot of their scorecards don't even have a stroke play thing. They're just pure match play. And they have the strokes right there on the side. They don't even write handicap. They write strokes because it's about, this is how many pops you get. It's match play. That's what they want. That's what, so people don't necessarily understand that, especially idiots on the internet that chirp at us about like, well, you should put everything out. If you're putting everything out every round you play, you're a loser. It is fun to do it occasionally. Trent does it for breaking 90, and it's amazing. And we always talk about how it really highlights the integrity of what you're trying to do, Trent, because most people don't play that way on the weekend, nor fucking should they. Everything would be slower, and it's less fun. The whole game's supposed to be more fun. So my point is, when you get to watch him play match play, when you get to watch a guy scoop a putt up, when you get to see the back and forth, and I do feel bad for the commentators because they just have to use the biggest cliches ever, over and over and over and over again on match play. And there's no one, and I mean no one, that uses more words to say nothing than Nota Begay in the history of golf commentary. I mean, he just talks, and he just says, like, he basically describes that, like, someone has to tee off second, is like what he'll do. And you're like,
it's true.
Well, it'll be like, because the way that last hole went down there, Dan, there's kind of a big momentum issue here where he's going to get to watch his opponent, who he just was defeated by on the previous hole, tee off first here. And you're like, okay, all right, yeah, all right, checks out.
That's right.
The whole time you're almost on the edge of your seat, like, where's he taking me with this one? And you're like, oh, the other guy's going to tee off. Gotcha. Okay. All right.
You know what I do wish they did, and it doesn't. It's a moot point now because this event is going away and match play just might not exist on the PGA Tour. But I wish they would mic the players up if they would be willing. Just the tiniest, most indiscreet mic, because I want to hear them say that one's good. Like, there's a little bit of anxiety when a guy puts it close, and we don't know, the announcers don't know, and we're just kind of guessing. And sometimes the guy does the hand, just like pick it up. But I would just a couple of mics on the guys just to hear what those interactions are like, because I'm far more interested in that than God bless Nota Begay, but sometimes he is just telling us the rules of match play.
It's incredible, man. I agree with you, and there's always that optical illusion too, right? Where something looks like from one angle, the guy will chip it up there, put it up there, and it looks like it's a millimeter from the hole, and then they give you the stat, and they're like, this putt's 3 foot 7 inches, and you're like, I'm like 50-50 from 3 foot 7 inches, so you're like, that's a whole different deal here. Like, he's got a 3.5 footer. What are you talking about? So yeah, it is great. It's so unique for us as people that are pretty in tune to the golf scene, and there's a event every single weekend, to have one that's completely different. It's fucking great. It's definitely a shame that it's gone. And, I say it every year, and I was saying it last week too, that I love Austin Country Club. I think that place on TV and the style of golf that it delivers, and these tee shots, like, the camera guy can't even find them half the time because you don't know where the fuck they're going to bounce, and they kick. And some guys hit one way out to the right and they're not sure, and they're watching it anxiously, and it goes like 375 down the middle. And then another guy hits one that he loves, takes it out, and he's like up in a lip on a bunker. He gets up there and is like, what the fuck? So I love that's so unique. We don't really get that very often. And then that stretch of the back nine where anything can happen. Is it the 13th that's that par 5 that's got the whole bridge and the whole deal behind it? That hole, I've never seen more guys make bogeys there, I feel like, than most par 5s that you watch. I get it. There's water down the left, and there's elevation change, and it's tricky, but you see all kinds of crazy shots there, and then they're going for the green on the next hole. Who was it? Was it Tom Kim that hit the grandstand and kicked back into the water? That was one of the worst bounces I've ever seen in my life.
The guy get hit in the shoulder?
No.
Guy got drilled in the shoulder, hit him like a fucking bullet, and then it bounced off him, goes about to go out of bounds, and then it hits a little stake, hits the stake, and goes back into play right onto like the road right in play. Unbelievable bounces. But the guy took one off his shoulder, and he it was like in slow motion. It hit him right in the chest, and he went backwards. Just fucking an absolute weapon was coming at him.
It just feels like that stuff only happens at Austin Country Club. Like the types of bounces and shit that you see, it's just pure kind of chaos out there. Cam Young had the one where he duck hooked like a 7-iron from 220 onto that hill, and it kicks off the hill, dribble, goes down to like an inch. So you just see some crazy stuff there, which as a viewer, you just gotta love it. So I'm gonna miss that place.
And I think that's something that match play allows is a break from the monotony of a stroke play golf course. You would like the 18th hole being drivable, and Rory hitting that incredible drive early in the week, basically a walk-off eagle. that would never fly in a stroke play event. You'd never see an 18th hole that was drivable or 2 drivable par 4s in the back 9. It's just nice for a week to not be so obsessed with what's the winning score and how many under par are these guys. Like, just it's a little bit chaotic, and I think in a monotonous schedule of 40 whatever stroke play events, it seems like such a no-brainer. But you're right, there's obviously business considerations, so it's not the no-brainer that we think that it is.
What do the players think? It's a
players
grind.
like it.
They do.
The players like it. I spoke to a few this morning. Spoke to a few this morning because I wanted to get that opinion. I mean, I saw some of the quotes that were like, "We really like it, we really like it." Had a couple guys say, "Yeah, we love it." Same for the same reason that we like it. It's just different. It's different. They do the same thing every single week, and like, yeah, if you have to play a little bit more in match play, tough shit, man. Like, it's an entertainment product for 1 week. Everyone's taking next week off to rest for the Masters, so I don't really feel bad for Sam Burns that he had to play.
Right. I mean, Rory played the most holes, and like, if Rory's fine with it, you should just do it.
Right.
Just do it.
Yeah. I got to give a disclaimer. I didn't know before I picked Kevin Kisner to win his group that he was chipping cross-handed. If I would have known that, obviously things would have changed there. I had Kirk text me in just a panic. He's like, "Why the fuck did we not know Kisner's chipping cross-handed? We would have never taken him." It was just a huge shocking moment.
But honestly, he was making birdies in that match against Matsuyama, and Matsuyama was just like matching him. It was fucking infuriating. And I wasn't watching because a lot of it wasn't on TV. They were just showing like the featured groups or those couple holes on Hulu. And I'm like watching on the Score app because I had placed a wager on Kevin Kisner to beat Hideki. And like, he was playing really well, and then all of a sudden you'd be like, "Holy shit, Kiz just made a birdie," and then you just see that circle right on top of him at the same time, and Matsuyama birdied. Then Kiz birdied the next hole, and Matsuyama birdied the next. Like, how many birdies are these guys making on top of each other? That was infuriating.
I completely agree. I actually thought overall, because I was able to watch most of Kiz's matches, that he actually played better than he's been playing. Things didn't go his way in match play, and that's how it is. He ended up losing 1 down to Hideki. He was right there with Max. He even had on like that 15th hole. That's a really tough. It was playing really, really difficult that day into the wind. Kiz hit a driver like 225 and had like 205 into the wind and hit like a 3-iron to 10 feet and canned it. And I was like, holy fuck. And then a couple holes later, Max ended up getting up and down from this spot on the right that was not his, like, it looked like it was Kiz's favor, and then Max ended up making a putt. Kiz missed a short one. So he was still right there with the cross-handed chipping stuff. Those matches could have gone the other way. But disclaimer, didn't know that. So I know people were upset, like, how come we're taking Kiz? He's chipping cross-handed like a lunatic. I just didn't know that. I will say that he was chipping cross-handed, and on the 16th hole was the first time I saw him chip cross-handed. He chipped it to like 2 feet and got up and down to tie the hole because Hideki did what Frankie was just talking about and made another circle. So it wasn't like he was boning these chips, but that's never just a great sign. So the only thing that really saved me was Scottie Scheffler. I had him top 8. It was like plus 125 or something. Shout out to the guy on Twitter that called that like the worst bet of all time after it hit, which is a very funny concept. I just don't think that guy gets how betting works. But he just was like, this is just a horrific bet, even though it hit. And I was like, well, I mean, it was plus money. I don't know how to have a rational conversation with somebody else.
Right. Unless he's saying you didn't bet enough, then there's no point to be made.
Thank you. That's exactly right. He's like, well, the odds are like actually way worse than that. And I want to be like, well, no, the odds are 100%. Like because it hit. That's like what like this guy. So
that's great.
And then we're going to get into Barstool Sportsbook later. We got an ad read for the Barstool Sportsbook, but Mr. Ice, I got to give a huge shout out to Mr. Ice, Elio, Dave's buddy, who is the hockey overs guy. We've referenced him a lot. He was just on fire this last weekend. I think it was Thursday, maybe, that he did. He declared a 3-unit syndicate play of the year, and it hit the over with like a couple minutes left in the third period. We were sweating that one out hard. That was massive. And then throughout the weekend, all his hockey ones for the next like 2 days were just winner, winner, winner. I think last night, finally, he had a loss. So out of like 7 different units that he kind of was putting on hockey over the weekend, 6 of them hit. So shout out to Mr. Ice. He was fucking massive this weekend.
Wow. Yeah, he's hilarious. And then now they got the brain freeze between him and Stephen Che that one hits. So that they've got a lot of things. They got a lot of juice going on in the ice world.
A lot of juice. So I was up this last weekend, even with our match play picks not being great. Kids at the cross hand, the whole deal ended up being up because of Mr. Ice. And then I got, out of all people, Riggs Tracker was DMing me tennis picks. And he's pretty good tennis handicapper. So he had me, I got a little juice out of him this last weekend too.
Wow.
And then he pulled a move that I loved on Saturday, I think, where I was going back and forth with him. Like, I'm thirsty here. What do you got? He's like, I don't like anything today. I like to pick my spots. I was like, I fucking love that.
That's
fine.
nice.
Yep. Take a little breather. Don't force anything. So yeah, Barstool Sportsbook was I had a lot of fun on that this past weekend. And Mr. Ice, if you're not following Elio on Twitter, he's a must follow. He's on Instagram now too. He's posting this stuff. He's trying to figure out Instagram. So I love that guy. He's great. And he was red hot this weekend. Brooks Koepka at the Florida Panthers game with like a pylon. Kind of a weird video. You guys clearly going through something. I don't know exactly what it is, but I also don't know why he's like surrounded himself with a bunch of guys in like tracksuits that were
Probably
that was
a
like
bachelor party, I'm assuming.
Was it something like that?
Had to be. Like that's the new
Okay.
thing. Everyone gets in like an outfit and they all go to a game or something, and like they're wearing tracksuits. I'm sure it was funny to them, and then probably would have been funny had he just not been a dick. I mean, it's a really weird video, super strange. He's holding the pylon, trying to get Aaron Ekblad's like attention from like the suite level, which is like, I whenever I go to Islander games, I know I scream a lot during games. It's more just like rooting on the team and like cheering for goals. I don't say like Brock, hey Brock.
Never, not once.
Never once have I ever thought the players were going to hear me on the ice. Like, it's insane. So the fact that he's doing that is like crazy lack of self-awareness. I mean, Jesus Christ, Brooks. I mean, really bad looking video, but we've all, I think maybe we haven't been there, but we've all been drunk, and it is tough. Like, I'm about to go on a bachelor party this week, my own, and it's like,
you're doing a little,
you just don't
see.
You just don't want to be filmed when you're drunk. Like, you don't like want a camera on you when you're drunk. I was talking about this with someone this weekend at like a family party. They're like phones, like they were saying when they were. I was talking to the guy who's like 40. He's like, when I went on bachelor parties, there was no such thing as like cell phones and everything going on Instagram. It's just like, I don't want to be filmed when I'm like singing karaoke drunk and like I got to go back to my job on like Tuesday. It's just like unbelievable. It's just a weird culture that we live in now that you have to kind of look over your shoulder every 2 seconds. Like, not saying you're doing something bad, but like just being drunk. Like, he was just being a drunk idiot at a game, and like, to the people to his left and right, that probably didn't even feel weird. But when you see it head on in a video, you're like, Jesus, that guy is in a rough spot. He must be going through things in life. It's like, no, he was just having a lot of like Bud Lights.
Yeah. And it's all about the lens that you're viewed through. Like, if that were Gronk, people would be like, this is awesome. You know what I mean? It really depends on your reputation. So like, it's, he's done what he's done, and he's been in controversies all over the place. But if that's Gronk, everybody's like, this is the best video ever. But
we've said that with Rooks with Rory McIlroy and fucking Patrick Reed in the same tournament. They did like the same thing, and everyone fucking called for Patrick Reed's head, and they were like, "That's an amazing move by Rory."
Right. What is Brooks Koepka's reputation right now? How would you guys describe it?
Well, I think on the heels of the full swing where he was basically being held hostage by Jenna Sims, it felt like that. Like he just seems probably like he's. Those two things coming out, a few weeks or a month or so apart from each other, it just adds up in people's minds.
He's like a wet dog right now. You just want to bring him inside and just dry him off.
Well, I also think it's you don't see him very often anymore. And it used to be he would play great golf. He would win a couple of majors in a very short amount of time. And then you would see him and it'd be like, oh, that's the guy who wins a ton of majors. And that's how you would view him. Now he has disappeared from the public landscape as other than, people who are really tuned into the CW. But if you're not, then you don't see him that often. So now when you see him, you're like, oh, that's Brooks. What's he been up to? What's he doing now? Why is he holding a cone? Like, that's the way he's viewed now.
Yeah. I agree with that. And it is much, remember he was super quiet even after he won his first U.S. Open at Aaron Hills. He was quiet. Yeah. He didn't do the media tours, right? He didn't do New York. And then even when he won his second one a year later, he wins Shinnecock, and it's like he's still pretty quiet. And then like that offseason, he like found his voice. Remember? And he started doing the interviews where he even said like, yeah, I never really thought I was like worthy of having all these takes, but now I've won a couple majors. I am. And at that point, I think his stock was about as high as it could be, because then he actually came on our show like a week before, and then he won the PGA at Bethpage. And you're like, this guy is sort of like saying whatever the fuck he wants to say. He's putting up like dartboards of Brandon Chambly, and then he's winning every major he plays it. And you're like, that's legit. And the minute you go to like not legit and you're like not finishing, you basically wouldn't make a cut if there was a cut on the Live Tour. And then you're also doing that type of stuff. Your image starts to slide a little bit. And you are right, Frankie, of like, it is funny to look at it through that lens of like people at the game and stuff probably didn't even, you're like, yeah, there's 20,000 of those people in here doing the same thing. Like whatever, who cares? But when that video goes
like,
out,
I'm just
you're
picturing
looking
like
at
being in that suite and he's probably like, oh, like they probably hung out with Ekblad the night before or something. And he's probably like shit-faced me like, Ekblad, you're a fucking pine cone or whatever pine cone. You're whatever, a traffic cone. And you're, and like everyone to his left and right are just like continuously drinking and having their conversation. But like on our view, it's like, what is that guy doing up there? He's a shit show. He's in a bad spot. He's in the darkness. He's got to get out of this dark place. We got to bring him back. But really, he's just like on a bachelor party. I don't know. It's hard to look through it on certain lenses, but he's always been a dick to us, unfortunately. So that's why I've always had like,
no, not always.
He's pretty recently.
It's weird.
We interviewed him. He was fine.
But he did that for like an ad for like Michelob Ultra.
True.
He never agreed to it.
Yeah, but I will say we saw him when we saw him at the PGA. He was cool with us that year that he won. Now that was also fucking 4 years ago. But
yeah,
he was. Remember, he
was
fist
cool that
bumping
like
us
we were
and, like,
around
winking
him,
at
but
us.
he
and
wasn't
stuff.
like giving us. It's not like he gave us an interview. He didn't like. He was definitely like cool, but he was also winning the PGA, so he was probably in good spirits.
Did you know that 80% of people are not drinking enough water to stay fully hydrated? If you're hanging with the boys on a Friday night, playing 18 on Saturday, you're definitely one of those people, and you absolutely need BioLite. BioLite is IV in a bottle. A lot of products come across our desk. I cannot tell you, fellas, how crucial BioLite has been to me, to the point where anytime I have buddies come into town, or we go down to Pinehurst for a trip, or we went over to Pebble and did the Dad Bod Classic, I hit up our team and I say, I got to have BioLite for this trip. And all my buddies are on board with it now as well.
It's just, it gets you back to where you need to go when you just like forget to drink water. It helped me so much. I had a lot of family in this week and, drinking some whiskey, drinking a lot of beer. You wake up super dehydrated and you're just like, why did I do that to myself? Why am I so far behind right now when it comes to my my thirst and my rehydration? And I go into my refrigerator, I get the BioLite. It is just such a good feeling knowing that you're skipping over drinking. How many sports drinks? Is it like 6.5? I
think it's 6.5 times the electrolytes than sports drinks.
Right. So you're just skipping all that out. You're skipping all that liquid going into your body and you're just getting super hydrated. It's an amazing invention.
Plus, it contains key vitamins and minerals that help promote balance in your body to get you feeling your best on and off the course. Great for after you've had one too many, fatigue, nausea, muscle cramps, whatever it might be, just the overall wear and tear on the body suffered by us weekend warriors. BioLite comes in 5 hydrating flavors, all formulated by an anesthesiologist and pain specialist from Atlanta, Georgia. Check out their newest flavor, Punch. Go get 10% off your first case of BioLite's newest flavor, Punch, right now. If you visit drinkbiolite.com, use the code CLASSIC. Obviously, they're big into the Barstool Classic, which we appreciate. So go to drinkbiolite.com, use the code CLASSIC, and get 10% off your first case.
But like the time that he just blew off the match with Dave and like leading up to that, when we were supposed to do that match, like I remember we were at Liberty National and I was like trying to get some video of him walking by at Liberty National. I was like, yo, Brooks, like, I was like, Dave's been practicing. And he just looked at me and goes, what? And just like kept walking. And he was like, pfft, and just like looked at his friend and just kept walking. I was like, and I literally said, sick, Brooks. You're like too good to like do a little video here for like the Dave Portnoy match. We're like putting all this money into it. You can't even like come over and do like a funny video. Like Max, like Homo would have eaten that up. He would have come over, done a whole thing, a whole buffet of bits. But Brooks was like, who is this? Like, who are you again? I'm like, you know exactly what's going on here. You know exactly what I'm trying to do here. And you're just being a fucking cock.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's always kind of been our issue with it, is like you're more aware than you try to act like you are. And And that's not cool that you act like you're not aware. Like we were never, that was sort of always our issue with him. He had that same approach to golf of like, yeah, it's like golf's golf, but like I'm kind of a different athlete. And that's like, dude, you went to fucking the Asian tour, wherever he went to try to make it in golf.
When he would go on part of my
you love
be
golf
like,
so
I hate
much.
golf.
So
I just happen to be good at it. It's like, no, you're legitimately like the most obsessed person with golf of all time. You're a golf nerd. You're an absolute golf nerd.
It's like golf is the reason that you have, a hot wife and $100 million. I remember he would say that he didn't practice. And I remember one year I asked him, I think it was in Phoenix. And I was like, yeah, like, have you been practicing? He goes, oh, I'm a range rat, bro. I live on the range. It's like, you just spent the last 2 years telling everyone that you don't practice. Right. Just feels like he kind of says things. He just kind of says
on
things.
That full swing, he's like grinding over the putting green, missing like 4-footer after 4-footer, practicing all day. And you're like, that's fine. That's cool. You're golf. That's what I do the same thing. It's called daily night. Like we're trying to get fucking, you love golf. We love golf. What's wrong with that? And he always try to act like he's a little too school for cool, if you will.
There's just no way you win the stretch that he had in majors. And
4 majors.
You go back and look at it, it's fucking insane.
Dude, like in full swing, they really hit you with it where they're like, we hadn't seen this since Tiger Woods. Like they were legitimately saying this was the best stretch of golf that we had seen in years.
Dude, it is. It's like, it's hard to wrap your head around. And you can't get that far without being a range rat. You have to practice. You just have to. There's no way you can win that way and not practice.
And the ones he didn't win in there, he was right there. Like when Tiger won the Masters, like if you go back that whole final round, Brooks should have won that Masters. He's like,
I'm looking at it right now. Starting 2017, he goes win T6, T13, win T39, win T2, win T2, T4, T7, cut T2, T4, T6.
That's insane.
Yeah, right there every time. But yeah, I mean, I remember at Royal Port Rush, I remember he was like in the last couple groups. And he obviously had the PGA that Phil won. He was in the final group with him. The one with Tiger.
Crazy.
Again, he legit on 17 and 18 missed like short birdie putts. And if he makes those, he just wins by a stroke. He hit one in the water at 12. It's like if he just plays like he normally plays on that back nine, he wins by like 2 or 3 that Masters. So it's like he was fucking unstoppable. So yeah, to go from that.
Dude, I remember when we were on that boat and I almost threw up and we interviewed him, he said something like borderline controversial where he basically broke majors down into a math equation where he's like,
was that on
this
the
amount
show?
Of guys, that was our show. Yeah. He was like, this amount
cool.
of guys can't handle the pressure. So you knock the field in half and then you take that and half of those guys can't handle the pressure once it gets into Sunday, yada, yada, yada. I don't remember it exactly. And then he fucking won it. And everyone was like, this is crazy. Because he is now proving what he's saying.
I remember he said that on our show, and then we got fucked because like a couple days later, like we aired the pod like 3 or 4 days later, and a couple days later, somebody had like at golf.com or somebody was interviewing, and he said the same breakdown basically, and then everywhere just quoted that one. I was like, no, we have him like on video and audio saying that because I remember sitting there with you, Trent, when you almost threw up and thinking like, holy fuck, what he's saying right now is an incredibly bold thing to say, and how much easier these majors are and how other people are just going to puke all over themselves. And now there's only 10 people you have to beat. And then he fucking, like you said, he just down the stretch beat DJ at Bethpage. We were like, this guy's fucking unstoppable. He's going to win 100 majors. And now here he is, dancing around with a pylon in his hand. So you never know what to expect. I feel like there's a resurgence from Brooks coming. I don't know how long it's going to be. He's not that old, right? What's he like? Young 30s?
Like 32, yeah. I would say 32, maybe 33.
So I feel like there's probably a resurgence coming from Brooks. It'll just be a few years, it feels like, at this point.
Just has to be in the majors now. I mean, he has no, like, before it was like, this guy doesn't play many PGA Tour events. Now he doesn't play any because he can't. And he, if he started winning majors at that same clip, that would really be something.
We got Mike Trout with a video he put out today announcing that he is opening a golf course 2025. It'll be called, it's Trout National, The Reserve. It'll be designed by Tiger Woods and the TGR Foundation or, group, TGR Group. Is that what it is?
TGR Designs?
I think, TGR is like the holding company. I think there's TGR Foundation, TGR Design.
In New Jersey, his hometown of Vinland. Is that how you say it? Vinland. New Jersey is scheduled for 2025 opening. Pretty fucking awesome if you think about it. Yeah. Like, here's this guy with unlimited money. He's one of the best athletes on planet Earth. Clearly loves golf, and he's like, I'm going to open a golf course. I'm going to do it however I want to. I like the quote that came out. So you see this kind of especially in the golf world, a lot of sort of people gassing up their own games or their own distances. This one I actually believed when it came out. It says Trout carries a handicap of around 7 or 8, averages 330 to 360 yards on his drives. And then he said, when I'm not letting it go, it depends on the moment. I try to dial it down to keep a little bit straighter. I believe all of that because he's such a freak athlete. So I believe all that. Incredibly cool that he's doing this, in my opinion.
Have you guys seen the video of him at Topgolf? Yeah, you'll believe that he hits at 350. The name is bold. Naming it Trout National. I mean, that's a lot of people have built golf courses. Not many have just gone, I'm going to go last name National.
Yeah, but it's kind of, I mean, if they have Trout run, is there going to be Trout running through any of these streams or?
It gotta be.
The logo's got to be a Trout,
right?
Somehow
he got lucky with the fact that it's a pretty cool name and it is his last name. Like if you didn't know anything about baseball, you just be like, that's a great golf course name.
True.
Has he leaned into the Trout thing at all? Like, is that like a known thing?
Here's the weird thing about this relationship is I never in a million years would have put them together. I would never have put Mike Trout and Tiger Woods in the same room. I don't see Trout as being anyone that wants to like be out in the limelight and doing something like this ever. He's a Philly guy that just like loves to go to Philadelphia Eagles games. And I don't know. I just never saw this. Where is this being built again?
New Jersey, his hometown.
This is being built in Jersey.
New Jersey.
Yeah, it's bizarre. It's a bizarre combination, and it stunned me when I saw it come across my desk. I mean,
we've never seen the two of them interact.
I've never seen Trout interact with anyone except for when he was sitting in front of us at the Super Bowl when Dave, when the Eagles beat the Patriots. Trout was just right in front of us sitting there, and he just looked like a regular person. It was fucking bizarre.
It is funny. People talk about this a lot with Trout, where it's like nobody, like, you don't really know what he's about, and he's like might be the greatest baseball player ever.
And he's playing in L.A., which is nuts. Anaheim, whatever. I mean, I don't really know the like.
What's the beef between L.A. and Anaheim?
It's just not L.A. Anaheim. It's like an hour east of. I mean, it's just not LA. The fact that there's
isn't everything in Los Angeles. Isn't everything at least an hour in LA?
But that's like actually, it's Orange County. It's like it's a different area. The fact that they're still called that Los Angeles Angels is absurd.
My point though, he's not playing in fucking Kansas City. He's
correct.
not. He's playing in a major, and I know we don't consider that to be a major sports market, the Anaheim Angels, but like it kind of is. He should be bigger than he is, but they're just such a fucking dog shit organization. They have Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout, and nobody cares about them. That's fucking nuts. They were the biggest stage. They were on the biggest stage at WBC. It was Ohtani versus Trout, and it was like the most watched pitch of all time. Like
whose fault is it though?
I mean, it's got to be ownership. I mean, I've heard horrible things about the Angels that like their owner just treats them like shit. Like someone was telling us like behind the scenes, like
pays them a lot of money though. So
who was like the food that like there's like in their clubhouse was like it was basically like prison food. Like they just like it's not a good organization to play for compared to like, all these other. Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, it's a combination of everyone's fault. It's definitely his for not being cool.
He makes $37 million a year.
Yeah.
That's
that good. Go look at his fucking.
No,
MLB
he's
reference.
another one where it's like he is worth every penny of that because, like I said before, there's an argument, and I'm not going to make it because I haven't followed baseball in a long time, but that he is maybe the greatest player ever.
Dude,
he's not even the best on his own team.
His stats are disgusting.
But his stats of the last like 10 years, you wouldn't believe them if you go to Baseball Reference sometime and just look. You won't believe what you're seeing.
He is probably considered pound for pound like the worst marketed athlete in the world, right? Like,
but you have this issue with Connor McDavid too. If Connor McDavid played for like the Boston Bruins or fucking the New York Rangers or like one of these East Coast huge market teams, he would be on every billboard in America essentially when it comes to hockey. But fucking Edmonton Oilers, we barely get to see him. He plays at 10:30 at night when we're watching it on the East Coast. You just can't see him. Same with Trout. Like I don't watch Mike Trout play at 10 o'clock at night against the Seattle Mariners. I'm just not sitting there watching it. They're barely on national TV. It sucks.
It's one of the great advantages of living in Phoenix Scottsdale area is you get to see Connor McDavid play all the time because it's like right when the sun goes down here and you finally get in and you sit down for a drink or a bite to eat, dinner, whatever, and it's 7 o'clock here and it's 10 o'clock there. That's when his game starts and all the other games are over and it's like the only thing on. So that's the biggest thing I noticed here. I tell people all the time is like from a TV standpoint, I get to watch Connor McDavid play all the time and it's amazing.
I have a dumb hockey question because I was thinking about Connor McDavid the other night for whatever reason. Why doesn't someone just give who is it, Edmonton?
Mm-hmm.
just a Godfather offer. Trade literally everything to get him, and then figure it out from there. Because the way that you guys talk about Connor McDavid, it's like when I was talking to Brennan about him once, where it was like, if there was a better league than the NHL, that's where Connor McDavid should play. Like
what he's doing this year is hilarious, and
is he the highest paid player in the league?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think so.
Probably not, because he signed his deal a few years ago now. So somebody's probably signed one based on the market since then. You know what I'm saying? But he's up there for sure. The reason I would say Trent is because if it were basketball, that would work. But hockey's so like the Connor McDavid probably averages what under 20 minutes a game that he's on the ice, maybe just over. But and there's 60 minutes in a hockey game, so he's only one of 6 players on the ice if you count the goalie for a third of the game. And so it's like, even if he's that dominant when he's out there and stuff, if the rest of your team stinks at all, you just can't, you don't make up enough in that. Whereas in basketball, 1 out of 5 guys on the court and you're out there for most of the game, like you could just kind of dominate and take over. Whereas in hockey, I think it's just like the scales are just enough tipped in having more of a in depth than it is having like a dominant player that I don't know it would work. And I think that Edmonton's been a good case of that, because dude, they've had some of the biggest stars that they've had on their team for like 5-7 years now, it feels like. And they pretty much had stunk a lot of those years. Last year, they finally made it pretty deep in the playoffs, and people are hoping that they do. But it's kind of like, you would hope that somebody would just do that, especially some owner that's like, dude, we're rebuilding anyways, so why don't we just start by doing everything to just get Connor McDavid and figure it out from there? Because from a marketing standpoint, you sell tickets, jerseys, you start to make up that money. People get hype around it. But yeah, he's fucking unlike anyone else to watch in hockey. It's like he's playing against children when he's playing. And
that's like crazy.
And he's playing against guys that are just the best at their position on earth. It's insane.
So he has the top cap hit. They do weird things with the cap hits in the NHL, but he has the top. I mean, he's making like $13 million a year. Then Panarin second, Austin Matthews third. Yeah, I mean, he's the fucking GOAT. He's unbelievable.
That's a lot in the NHL too. Like those guys. I remember, what was it, Kaner and Taves, when they both signed like the same deal? It was like around $8 million a year or something. And that was
on the NHL. Now he's on the Rangers. So
now he's on Rangers. Sorry about that.
Connor McDavid is 26 years old. I just think, and you make a good point about how much time he plays, because if you look at it with basketball, like I remember a very young LeBron on the Cavs. His team was Garbaggio. Like
terrible.
They were really bad. He carried them to the finals like a couple of years, and it was like, this is wild. But also, he's playing 47 minutes of a 48-minute game, so it's like he affects every single thing that happens.
Dude, he has 139 points this year. The next closest is 112, and the guy's on his line. It's on his team. It's Draisaitl. So you have two guys that, and Draisaitl directly gets all those points because also McDavid's got 139 points, and it goes vice versa for sure. Draisaitl is one of the best players in the league, but you can't say that that's not mano a mano. That's the reason why that's happening. They both go head to head on power play, and that's why they're racking up so many points. Then the next is Kucherov on the Lightning with 102. So he has 139. The next in the league that's not on his team is 102. Pastrnak scores every single night. He's got 97 points. Connor McDavid has 139.
How many goals is that?
He's got
I mean, what does he have?
40% more points. And these other guys are
73 games
good.
this year. He's played 73 games. He has 60 goals. He has 79 assists for 139 points. 60 goals. Dude, I tweet out Brock Nelson, American hero, every single night, and he has 32 goals.
Dude, that's like those are close to those Wayne Gretzky's numbers a few years, and they had like the goalie was just a toothpick in the net at the time, and like the fact that he's doing that now against these guys and how good everybody is. But yeah, just look, I think Connor McDavid last year averaged 22 minutes per game of a 60-minute game.
Yeah,
and so it's just like when you look at it that way, it's yes, you can dominate and score as many points as he is, and your team's going to be, it's going to help, but it's like it's not necessarily enough to overcome. Whereas like if a team like when the Cavs would just pretty much brought in LeBron and they were able to win, like you got to have a little help for sure, but it's just not as impactful.
Yeah.
We talked about this, Riggs, when you were explaining that to me, because I was pretty much a hockey novice before joining this podcast. That is still astounding to me that there's not one guy who can play like more than half the game. I mean, I get it. That's what it's been forever. But it's so hard to wrap your head around that there hasn't been one cyborg who's like, I'm just going to play 40 minutes.
It's just it's like the best way to describe it is like a shift in hockey is like riding a bike straight up the side of like a hill or a mountain the whole time. So it's like you can't, no matter who you are, you could go pretty hard for like 45 seconds at a time, and then you're pretty much gassed and you need to sit out for half the game or 2/3 of the game. And it's almost like defensemen are, traditionally defensemen are more valuable really to like a Stanley Cup winning contending type team because they're on the ice about half the game, because defensemen, they kind of hold it down in the defensive zone. They're not like chasing the puck all over the ice like a forward. They're not forechecking. They're sort of like controlling the game from the defensive position. You get like a big fucking guy like Chara back there who's not as skilled as Connor McDavid. He's not as marketable. He's not as known. He's not scoring 1 million points. But Chara played in the NHL forever, and like Bruins are phenomenal. He's like fucking 6'9" back there, just on the ice for almost 30 minutes a game. He just is able to help your team out throughout the entire game or half of the game, more so than even a forward that scores a ton. So hockey's very unique in that sense of like, it's almost getting a really good defenseman in there who nobody on earth has even heard about, or no average sports fan even hears about, is like more valuable a lot than even having a Connor McDavid or something.
And the
If you are
second
the
you take your foot
commissioner
off
of
the
the
gas,
NHL,
the
what's
second you take your foot off the gas in the NHL, you're just going to get blown by you and it's a goal. So like these guys have to go 100 miles an hour every single second, and you'll see it become like the more you watch, Dan, it becomes strategy to like hem these guys into the defensive zone and like make them kind of work hard, and then all of a sudden like a goal is coming. Like it's as evident as that. You literally are like, holy shit, these guys can't get off the ice. They'll put it's so obvious that actually the broadcast will put up like Brock Nelson has been on the ice for 2 minutes and 10 seconds. And you're like,
which is like an eternity.
Shit.
Forever.
And you watch him and he's just
That's
standing
crazy.
still and he like can't move.
Insane.
And like, they'll just keep like peppering his side, and like they'll keep passing to the forward that he needs to be on. And like, they'll move the puck around that guy. And you can just tell like these guys need to get the puck out of the zone. They need it. And all of a sudden a goal comes and you're like, fuck, we couldn't clear the puck once. Like you just knew it.
So they'll just take penalties on purpose, dude. Like a lot of times in that situation, you've been out there for like over a minute. You guys are gassed.
Just like trip the guy.
You'll just trip. You'll just yank a guy down, and they'll call a penalty, and you'll be like, good. If their power play scores, 80% of the time, we are going to get scored on 100% right now. So let's just fucking yank a guy down and get off the ice.
And then you ice it, and you have to stay out there. It's crazy. That was
a new rule. Like I don't know how long it's been now, 10 or 15 years ago. Mm-hmm. But you used to be able to. So guys, all the time when you get gas like that, you get the puck at your stick, you just fire it down, get an icing call and change. And then they changed that. It might be fucking 15 years ago now or something longer. But like, that was a huge difference in the rules. But yeah, I think if people got out there and like actually skated, you'd be like, you'd get it in 2 seconds. Like,
well, you're saying 1 minute for the best players in the world is like a long time.
Yeah,
it is. It's forever.
That's astounding.
It can be stressful to describe the kind of haircut you want, even if you feel like you got it across. It's hard to know if your stylist really understands what you're talking about. Too often, hair care results in a hair scare. Fortunately, the stylists at Sport Clips Haircuts speak the language of hair. You could say that they're fluent in fades, literate in long locks, and just all around clippers confident.
I went to a Sport Clips the other day. I got a little bit of fade. You see, they did a real good job.
Looks good.
It's professional. I wanted to keep the top a little bit longer because I want some room to work with. I want a canvas. And they did a great job. I mean, I have one right here by my house, and ever since we started being partners with them, I go in there and I love it. They just know what the hell they're doing. And you don't need any of the BS. You don't need any of the you got to show them pictures and like really get nervous. It's your hair, man. Like you got to make sure that someone knows what they're doing when they're taking control of it. And they do. I mean, every single time I go in there, it is an MVP experience. No ad read, pun intended.
Oh, there you go. You can get the MVP haircut experience from Sport Clips, which is fantastic. They give you the nice towel. They got 7 pressure point massage shampoo, a perfectly steamed hot towel, the freedom to not have to stress about a bad cut. They're the pros in men's hair. That's why we like them. So you have to go to some salon or worry if the person that you're getting knows exactly or has a ton of experience in cutting men's hair. That's what they do at Sport Clips. So go check them out. Next time you need a cut, come to Sport Clips, get a head turning haircut from the pros in men's hair.
If you're the commissioner of the NHL, you just have to get Connor McDavid in Chicago or Boston or New York It's like wink, wink, promise them a couple draft picks, give them a deal on something. Like, if you want the league to succeed, like, I only know Connor McDavid because of you guys. Like, my parents definitely don't know who Connor McDavid. I could walk on the street and go up to 10 people, and I would think probably like maybe one of them would know who Connor McDavid is.
No,
maybe.
come on. He's
he's a nobody.
They would know his name. They wouldn't be able to recognize him for sure.
And I don't want to. I'm not trying to be
on.
disrespectful
At
to
this point,
Connor McDavid. He seems like a great guy, obviously a great player. He's a nobody.
Oh, come on, man. Compared,
Dude.
I mean, like, who do you consider a somebody then? Because he's the best at his sport.
What do you mean?
No, like, who do you consider like a somebody then? Like what do you have?
I'm talking about well known. I'm not doubting how good he is and his skill and like all that.
You don't think
stuff.
enough of like all of the NHL fans that think he's the best player possibly ever is enough to like be known as a somebody? Like, you don't think like every person that watches hockey that like legitimately knows him, like you don't put that as like he's super famous?
I actually take all of those people out. We got to talk about people who don't watch hockey, who don't always, or like who don't even casually watch hockey.
I think Connor casual sports fan knows the name Connor McDavid at this point. Come on, man.
Brooks
you think if you ask
more
10
famous
people
than
on the
Connor
street,
McDavid?
What?
You think Brooks Koepka is more famous than Connor McDavid?
Oh man.
Oh fuck. No.
Yes.
I think he is. I mean, biased, but
do not. By the way, I do not need hockey Twitter coming after me, so I don't.
This has to be clipped.
That's crazy because I just don't think he's that well known.
You're entitled to your opinion, but they've clipped my fucking clips all the time when I've said the dumbest shit of all time in this podcast, and people want to burn Borelli's down. So
I think Brooks Koepka is definitely more famous than Connor McDavid. Yeah. But just because I think it's golf's so individualistic sport. His face is just right there in front of people a handful of times. We're talking about the major, and that's over.
We're talking about the biggest, the best player in the league compared to like one guy of 15 huge names. So like, I think it's more of a discussion than you're thinking. He's the top. Connor McDavid is the guy. It's like him and Sidney Crosby.
Those are the guys.
Sidney Crosby is way more famous. Sidney Crosby is way more famous.
I'm also just speaking to
the
general popularity of NHL, of the NHL.
Sidney Crosby is way more famous. It's also like
so
that East
much
Coast.
more famous.
That's the East Coast
That's
bias.
East Coast,
talking about,
also all that like 24/7 stuff when they would play the Capitals,
winning cups,
Winter Classic, winning cups, like all that just elevated him. And like he was Sid the Kid, him versus Ovi as the storyline. Like it just vaulted him to being really famous. I probably agree with you guys on like Connor McDavid too, and hockey being a helmet sport. Like I don't think people just recognize or like see, they're just like not aware of him.
To me, and this might just because of where I'm from, but like Jonathan Taves and Patrick Kane I know them way more than I would know Connor McDavid.
It's probably true. Like
I'm gonna text Whitney. I'm gonna see what Whitney says.
But what's the question?
I'm gonna say, who do you think's more famous, Connor McDavid or Brooks Koepka?
Oh my
Isn't
God!
that the question?
Brooks Koepka crazy.
I think it's Brooks Koepka in a pretty quick answer.
My last couple, I am on a bad streak of texting Whitney. My last couple of streaks, it's a sea of blue because the Islanders had crushed the Penguins the last time they had played. So I just was going off on him.
I think.
That's such a good look at you privately. Like publicly, you're tweeting all caps about the Islanders, and then privately, when you're not tweeting that, you're just texting Ryan Whitney. God knows what.
Yeah, I just think walking down the street asking people who Connor McDavid is, he's definitely very good, and he's the top of his sport, and hockey fans clearly know who he is. But the general public, I think, is largely unaware of him.
It's a hard question because, like, fuck. Brooks Koepka, I mean, Connor McDavid has never been on the stage that Brooks Koepka has been on 4 times. Like being on national television, hoisting a trophy, like accepting, like giving a championship speech on ESPN and all these
Probably
things.
Does
like,
the Tonight Show a few times. Whenever he wins
never
that,
even come close to that stuff. He's been obviously the best player in the league for years.
Connor McDavid could punch me in the face, and I'd be like, "Why did that random stranger just punch me in the face?"
No, you wouldn't know who he is, dude.
I don't. I know who he is. I know that.
You wouldn't know what he looks like.
No.
God, oh my God! I would. How do we come up with like?
Dude, we just do a lineup. Do like 5 guys. We line up and be like, "Which one's Connor McDavid?"
True. We should.
I don't think you guys will get it. I think they'll have no clue. We line up like 5 NHL players, basically.
I'm gonna flash a couple faces on the screen. You let me know which one is Connor McDavid.
All right.
Hold on. Let's see. Let me just save a couple pictures here. Okay.
All right.
I think you guys might get it.
I think it's crazy if you don't.
I don't
You
have
just
any-
know what people look like in this day and age. It's impossible to
No, but he's like not. He's not. Is he on social media? Is he on like TV shows that I'd be watching? I certainly don't
He was
watch
on social in the off season last year for a little bit.
Yeah, I think Whitney's leaning Koepka because it's too big. It's too big of a stage. Like, you know what I mean? The more that I keep saying it, it's those
That's what I'm
four
saying.
You
majors
see his
are
name,
huge.
Koepka, for 4 hours on the whole weekend. You don't see Edmonton. You just see Koepka.
And he's worldwide too, man.
Dude,
Yep.
Brooks
He's
Koepka
worldwide.
is Brooks Koepka is
He's
famous.
worldwide. He's worldwide.
Also, the Pardon My Take bump for like 3 years. He was like in the conversation for the Blake of the, whatever. Like
Bryson
the whole
versus
deal.
Brooks
So
was
he's
one of the biggest sports stories the last couple of years.
massive. That clip of him like fucking scoffing at Bryson when he walks by with the cleats, like that stuff just adds up, dude. Everybody knows who he is.
I can feel myself bordering on being like disrespectful to Connor McDavid, but I'm not trying to be. I'm just saying he's just not a big name.
He's a decent name. I just think he's not. He's just kind of a name.
I think to a lot of people, he's more of a name than he is like a brand and everything else. Whereas Brooks
sure.
Koepka, you just kind of like.
I'm trying to think of just random ass faces right now for the NHL. I'm just thinking of random ass. Hold on.
Oh, man, I feel bad.
I feel bad for you because you're going to get hate for something you're not actually doing, which is like you're not shitting on Connor McDavid. You're just saying what you believe, which is that people just don't know him.
He's not
on
even the
the
most
same
famous
level
Connor
that
Mick.
People don't know him on the same level that he deserves for how good he is.
Gregor?
Yeah, he's not even the most famous Connor Mick.
Now you're being disrespectful.
That's
his name, right?
undisputable. I mean, Conor McGregor is way more famous than Connor McDavid.
Oh yeah.
Oh God, I mean, come on.
That's not close.
Shout out to Robbie Fox, by the way.
Yeah, shout out to Robbie. Conor
You're,
McGregor is one of the most famous athletes of the last 20 years.
Oh yeah, he's the opposite of like Mike Trout. He just like leveraged everything he's ever done into a massive brand. Where it's like it's a complete opposite.
All right, I've got a bunch of photos here, and I'm gonna show them to you guys. I'm gonna show them.
I'll let you take this one, Trent.
Okay.
I'm gonna show them, and we'll see if you can pick out Connor McDavid. I don't know how.
I don't know how I would know what this guy looks like.
Okay, ready? Here is number one.
That could be him.
Now
Could
here's
be.
no, that's number one. Okay,
Okay.
number two,
That could definitely be him.
That guy looks foreign.
number three,
He's got no clue.
number four,
No disrespect to that guy, but I don't think that's Connor McDavid.
and number five.
I got one who I think it is. There was only one guy with light hair.
All right, I got my guess.
Who is it?
I think it's the last guy.
I think it's number 3.
You think this is Connor McDavid?
Yeah.
No, that's Dylan Larkin on the Detroit Red Wings.
Oh.
Who
Number
was it?
three.
Which one is it?
Number three was Connor
Okay,
McDavid.
the light
Holy
hair.
shit. Yeah, there he is.
Okay.
How'd you know he had light hair?
I don't know. Connor, he sounds Irish.
Okay, come on. That's insane.
that's
What a
what
ricochet shot
I
at Josh
guessed on.
Bailey.
I just knew that wasn't him. I don't know. You know, I guess I'm going to apologize. I'm sorry that I just,
No, you don't have to. It's just, it's interesting. This is on the NHL that, like, Trent Ryan from Iowa is a sports fan. He watches sports. He pays attention to the big headlines. He watches The Bachelor. He watches golf. He's going to break 90. This guy who is aware of things. You're aware of everything that's going on.
I know what's going on mostly in the world.
You've never seen Connor McDavid's face, and that is on the NHL at some point. Like this debate and argument ends up turning on Gary Bettman and him not understanding how to market his players. Is that Connor McDavid's fault? Sure. But like, you're the perfect person to do that with, because like they're supposed to be marketing to you. You are the person they're supposed to grab. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They already have the hockey fans. They already have the Canadians. Like Connor McDavid's the most famous person in Canada. That's a fact.
Okay.
You think?
Trudeau?
Yeah.
Drake. Bro.
Ryan Whitney.
Bro, you don't think Connor McDavid's the most famous person in Canada?
Well,
I think even anyone that knows Drake knows Connor McDavid too. No. Fuck, dude,
I don't know.
Canada
You're looking at me like I got the answers. I don't know.
They're gonna put him on like the dollar bill up there, whatever they use, the loony and the
you could be
toonie.
talking about Drake now.
Man, I gotta think that he's fucking big in Canada.
It could be the type of thing where it's like both those guys are so famous in Canada that it's the same thing.
Like Connor McDavid's more
Yeah.
famous than Brooks Koepka in Canada.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's give the guy.
I'll give you that
here,
one.
all
That
right?
one's
The guy's
yours.
139
I'll give you
points
that.
this year. Can we give him a single win?
What did Whitney say? Because
He says, "I think I got to go Koepka," and that's like he's like the voice of the NHL, right? I mean,
right. That's
Whitney
why I
knows
wanted his
everything.
opinion because like I'm talking out of my ass here, but I want the opinion of someone who's like very plugged in, and Whitney's that guy.
Yeah, he's super plugged in.
I
I think Brunelli. I think they'd
Whitney
all
though is
say
a huge golfer too. I'd be curious if you asked like Eddie from Barstool.
Dude, I think it's a no doubt Koepka's more famous. I think it's no doubt. I think it's a no brainer. And it's honestly sad. Like we've debated this for 10 minutes and it's taken me 10 minutes to realize this is on the NHL. Like, yes, a guy winning 4 majors is fucking insanely massive. That's insanely massive. It's an individualistic sport.
Dude.
You're on every single talk show. You're all over the place. Scott Van Pelt's interviewing you after you win. It's like, it's massive. You're just all over the place. You're in Netflix. You're
Yep.
all, Connor McDavid's not in any of that shit, man. He's just scoring a bunch of points, and like his name is like, holy shit, you believe what that guy's doing out there? I want to believe that the best player in the league is really famous, but he's not. He's not.
Okay.
I agree with that.
I
agree with
I
that.
want to say that I respect Connor McDavid and the accomplishments that he has are incredible. Because when I do watch him and when I do see a rare highlight of him, it's wild to see. And hockey fans, don't be too mean to me.
He's brutal in interviews too. Like if you ever watch him,
Is he?
like, oh my god, he like doesn't want.
He's
He
got
has no
nothing.
personality.
He's like Trout.
Someone said something to him about
Yeah.
like scoring 60 goals or 50 goals, and they were losing the game at that point. And I get like those in-game interviews are kind of dog shit. Like you're really asking a guy about like a individual thing, and he didn't want to talk about it. But he was just like, I don't care. What's up? And like they were just like, you're our guy right now. You have 120 points. Can you we'll put this on ESPN if you say something cool? But he just didn't. He was just like, I don't want to talk about it. Like we got to win the game. We're down 2.
But there are guys like that. Like just because like it's actually probably the rarest type is being really, really good at something and being able to like talk about how good you are at it. Like Michael Jordan is the greatest ever because he is that guy in both arenas.
And Brooks too.
Brooks
Being
is that
brash
guy.
pays off big time. Scottie Scheffler, for as great as he is, probably isn't as famous as Rahm or Rory for that reason as well.
I guess
where he
the
just
argument could turn into who is the lowest on the totem pole golfer that is more famous than fucking Connor McDavid. Scottie. I'm not saying Scottie's low on the
Do you
totem
think
pole,
Patrick Reed is more famous than?
but I don't know. He might be, dude. He
Yes,
fucking
yes.
might be.
and Bryson,
I think
they're
he
both
is
more
too.
famous.
I'm biased again, so I don't
Like,
really
is Matt
know.
Fitzpatrick more famous than Connor McDavid?
No,
no.
Not yet.
But that to me feels like
No.
No,
Why?
I think
But he
we
won
found
the
the
US
line.
Open.
We
He won
found
the US
we found the
Open.
line.
He won the U.S. Open though. It's
I
pretty fucking big.
know, but I don't think that
Every
that
like
one-
girl that watched Netflix like knows him now, and they think he's like a cute little Brit. Who everyone is fucking. People call me Matt Fitzpatrick from the one clip where he's putting a ton of sunscreen on, and people in my life have all been calling me Matt Fitzpatrick recently. I'm like, I think that, and I like Matty Fitz, and he's Danny's like really good friend. I mean, like, I don't know if that's the biggest compliment. Whatever, it is what it is. Like, he doesn't really care about like his looks that much. I mean, he's like, I don't know. I just don't want to be
He's got
called
a
that.
Skechers commercial that's on Golf Channel.
He does. I don't know. It's just
He does do Skechers. I don't know if that helps him in that case.
It doesn't
to be honest
help.
with you.
Like I kind of like I like the Justin Thomas ones.
Justin Thomas is more famous.
The clips they send me
Mhm.
are like him like putting sunscreen all over his face, and they're like, you look exactly like this guy. I'm like, can you give me a pic of him looking cool winning the U.S. Open?
With
Brooks
braces
Koepka
on.
is really famous, by the way.
Whatever. Yeah, we don't
Yeah, I
have to go
think
through
he's
every player.
he's like that one's a no brainer. Is
Xander Schauffele. No.
no.
What? Trent.
Jordan
No.
Jordan
Okay.
Spieth is Justin
Jordan
Thomas is
Spieth is
Jordan
Yeah.
Spieth might be
John-
one of the famous people
John
in golf.
Rahm. John Rahm more famous than him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sucks. It sucks.
This is what started this.
Victor
Sucks.
Hovland. No.
No. It started a while ago, but the NHL needs to just figure out a way. At the end of the day, it's an entertainment product. Like I get that there's a Stanley Cup on the line, and that's very important. It's very important. But what's also important is keeping your sport at the forefront of like people's minds. You need Connor McDavid in Boston.
Real vodka. We're talking about Truly's now. Obviously, we've had Truly on board for a handful of years. The Barstool Classic. Everybody's had themselves a lovely time. It's taken the next step, and that next step is real vodka in there. Yes, there is vodka in Truly. You can try the vodka seltzers made with real fruit juice. They have been keeping it real, and that's why they use no artificial flavors or sweeteners, made with premium vodka for a crisp, clean, and refreshing taste. There's fewer calories in Truly. All 12-ounce cans have under 110 calories, which means plenty of refreshing flavor that will not weigh you down. They're lower sugar. Every Truly Vodka Seltzer contains only 2 grams of sugar. You can find the Truly Vodka Seltzer near you at trulyhardseltzer.com. I love it now up at Greyhawk on the beverage cart. They've got the Trulies with the vodka. The beverage cart girls up there rave about them. They say everybody that tries them loves them. Everybody looks at them and says, wait a second, I wasn't aware maybe that Truly now at this point had the vodka inside of there. Can I try that? They love them. They come back and they get them over and over again because they're keeping it real with the Truly Vodka Seltzers, boys.
Yep, I had Truly Vodka Seltzers at the house this week, and it was a pleasant surprise to people that hadn't tried it before. They couldn't believe how good and how crisp and how easy it was to drink, and they enjoyed the flavor. It was amazing. It was just a good party drink, and I knew that I was serving something that everyone would love. So it's really nice that Truly's back on, or is on this train when it comes to the real vodka.
Find Truly Vodka Seltzer near you at trulyhardseltzer.com.
I heard some shit this week. We had some family in from Colorado, and the Avalanche aren't even on TV in Colorado this year. You have to like buy a specific like direct TV package, but you have to completely abandon all of the cable that you had originally had if you want to watch them. Like I guess Root Sport or Altitude Sports like won't sign a deal with the major TV companies, and like you just can't watch them. Our family that comes in has to circle the games that are on TNT and NBC Sports or whatever so that they can watch their Stanley Cup winning team. That's crazy. So NHL needs to figure it the fuck out.
It's tough because they're like similar to what I talk about the Dell Match. Like the ratings, even when they do figure it out, the ratings aren't there. Like people don't really watch it that much, which just stinks. It stinks as a hockey guy.
Stunning. Hockey is a great sport to watch.
It's awesome. It's the greatest sport. It really is the greatest sport. There's always a chance for something to happen. It's the greatest sport. It's the greatest sport to go see live. I mean, hopefully everyone can agree on that.
It's up there for sure.
I agree with that for sure.
Like football games, especially professional football games, not that fun to go to. It's kind of like
way better to watch on TV.
Way better. Even golf tournaments.
Baseball's great.
I love baseball.
Golf might be the worst sport to go see in person.
Baseball's nostalgic. You go, you get popcorn, you get Cracker Jacks.
But you're not even really there to watch the game. You're kind of like chilling.
Baseball's
like it's
great.
nice that it's going on. Yeah.
But hockey's just hits you right in the fucking chest, man.
But it translates like it's great in person, and it's also great on television.
Yeah. They dealt with a lot of bullshit back in like their late 90s, early 2000s where they tried to put a trail around the puck. Remember that? There was like Fox. And it's also starting to do that now again on like Hulu. They're putting a trail around the puck because they say casual sports fans can't follow the puck. I find that to be insane.
If you can't follow the puck, you're 100 years old.
I've heard people be like, I just can't follow the puck. I can't get into it. What do you mean? The camera's pointing at it. Just like whatever's on the screen is where the puck is, right?
It's a black puck up against like white ice, basically.
It's super easy.
It's just a pure color contrast to the most stark degree that they could possibly do it. Eddie from Barstool said, that's a tough one. Brooks is 100% more recognizable if you saw both out. So I guess I'd have to go Brooks, which I think is a no-brainer.
So it sounds like it's not that tough if he said 100%.
Yeah. No,
that's a tough one. Brooks is 100% more recognizable.
Well, that goes back to those pictures that Frankie showed us. I was a shot in the dark with those pictures that Frankie showed. I just kind of went with like number 5. He was a good looking guy. I was hoping that could be the face of the NHL.
You're rooting for that one. Yeah. All right. We got a few administrative things to discuss. One is we've got the G4 shoes are out now on our website. So they're coming out, I think, 10 a.m.-ish today, Tuesday. So if you're listening early in the morning, they might not quite be out yet. But Trent's got the MG4 Pluses. Those are as comfortable an all-round shoe as there is on planet Earth. The Gallivanter, I call the Gallivanter my tournament shoes. That's like if I'm going to put a pair of pants on, have a big match against a buddy, I'm going Gallivanters. We got our on there. And then we've got a women's pair out as well. And these are available on store.barstoolsports.com. And they're also available. We got an exclusive deal on the PGA Tour Superstore. They bought a bunch of these puppies. So you go to PGA Tour Superstore anywhere in the country, they're going to have the Barstool Golf Spring G4 shoes in there. And they're as hot as they get, boys and girls.
So that's looking great today, in the spring line.
That's releasing today, Tuesday, 12 o'clock. Is that what we all talked about? So you got to be on the website at 12 o'clock. They're exclusive and there's not much in stock is one of the things we were told. So you got to make sure that you're on the website, get these bad boys. I went to the PGA Tour Superstore yesterday in Westbury. We have an amazing setup there. It's right when you walk in, right? You make a right and it's right there. all on the walkway. I kind of messed up. I was looking at some quarter zips and I put them back and I kind of made the setup look ugly. And I got a bunch of messages about that like the quarter zips were all over the place. I was looking at them. I was looking for a medium. And usually when you go to those places, like someone, like you go to like Abercrombie or something, someone just pops out of nowhere and they just fold the shit whenever you're looking at
You
it.
wanted somebody to clean up after your
amazing.
mess.
I didn't. I tried to. I just didn't do it good. You can watch the video. I just didn't do it perfectly, and I got a lot of comments about that. People are the worst. But the shoes there, man, it's just this huge G4 setup, and you see them there, and they have like almost a spotlight on them. And that fucking spring line, that bottom of that MG4, it just hits differently than any other shoe we've ever put out. I've worn them multiple times with different people playing here in New York. It's been nice out. We've been able to play a couple rounds of golf, and every time I've played, I've gotten comments. People in the pro shop, people on the first tee. They're like, "What are those?" In a good way.
Same. I've been wearing the a good barometer is always the outside crew, cart guy, bag drop crew, right? Those are like just your average golf fan. They're literally taking a job at a place where they clean clubs and handle carts so they can get out and have playing privileges in the afternoon at certain spots and the whole deal. And they're always in on stuff. They go nuts for the shoes. So like, these are fucking hot. Like, what's the deal with these? So yeah, they're kind of bringing it with those. Credit to our merch team, G4, the whole crew, and the MG4 Plus, like most comfortable shoe, not even golf shoe, most comfortable shoe. I think in history that I've ever worn. It's not even close. And then the Gallivanter is so classic looking. Somehow they married like classic and traditional with new age comfort and whole deal. So yeah, big shout out to G4 whipping those puppies up as well. Go check those out at the PGA Tour Superstore or get them online, store.barstoolsports.com. You get those puppies shipped right to your front door. You don't have to go anywhere. We got Adam Scott, 4-man scramble coming out Wednesday evening. Do we have a time for this? Are we doing 7:00 again? Feels like a hockey game, like
tomorrow night, 7:00. Adam Scott Scramble, the Yards in Florida. It's a property right off of TPC Sawgrass. Really
Florida.
Cool new age hybrid golf course is what I would call it. I'm not sure what category it falls into, but it's 12 holes, a bunch of water, huge driving holes, like long par fives, a bunch of par threes. It's exactly what like the new age golfer is looking for, I think. Easy to walk, easy to play, but super fun. We had a hell of a match against Adam Scott, which is such a big name. We talk about big names all the time. That guy's got just a big name in golf, and the fact that we saw him hitting that beautiful buttery swing right in front of us, amazing. So that's tomorrow night.
Can I get a sneak peek? Was the first swing that you guys saw on the first hole, like did it live up to what you were expecting it to look like?
Yeah.
Dude, on the range
a little bit before.
It was on the range. And it was
like,
interesting because we all kind of came from different spots. That's when I was driving back across Florida, back and forth, snip, snap. And so I got in a little bit before these two, and Adam Scott got there early. You guys' flight was delayed, and I'm standing on the range hitting a couple, and then Adam Scott just shows up. And then there's just two humans on the range. The course was closed this day. Shout out to the Yards. Like you guys described it great, but phenomenal spot. Right now, it's in Ponte Vedra Beach, right next to TBC, and it's excellent. So if you're in the Jacksonville, Ponte Vedra area, you have to go check out the Yards.
It's
They're built for fun. It's new age, the whole deal. Everything that we like about golf is personified in this place. But whole course is closed. There's only two human beings on the driving range at one point, and it was just Adam Scott and me. And I saw the camera guys are back there. There's going to be clear juxtaposition video footage of those two actions right next to each other. Thank God you two showed up because I just couldn't handle that all the time. I just didn't want to swing it. I wanted to just go home and be like, I can't do that. This guy's handsome and tall, an Australian accent. He swings perfectly. He's won the Masters. And here's me. So yeah, on the range, dude, he just seeing that thing in person. It's really special.
It looks like it can't go offline.
Correct.
It looks like it can't possibly miss.
Have we put out that picture that Brendan got of Adam Scott?
Oh,
No,
yeah, we do need to put
the
that
legs.
out.
Dude. Yeah.
Well, that'll be a selling point to click on the video for sure. But
Right. It's breathtaking is the word that I would use.
yeah, I mean, it's just like nice to get the competition back in our lives. I feel like at the end of last year, we were releasing a lot of videos that we had sat on, and there was travel videos and all this stuff. Scotland came out, but like now we're back in the mix, playing these pros pretty consistently. We got a lot more on deck. Danny's got a lot of videos coming out. I'm looking on our calendar. You got shit coming out this week, right? That you're filming that we don't want to talk about yet.
Yeah. First video, like YouTube series beginning this week. Very
The
excited.
cool guest. I saw that. That's going to be
Yeah.
awesome. So yeah, we're just like kind of flowing we're getting in the groove of things. Masters is coming up. We got fucking, we have Adam Scott the week before the Masters in a video on our YouTube page. That's huge. That's huge.
What happened to that Lurch video I've been waiting for, where he announces that he's like back?
He just like hasn't put it out. It's crazy. That's Lurch for you.
I mean, you said I was excited to see it. I thought maybe he would call off the dogs a little bit and make my life a little easier.
He's yet to put it out. Maybe I don't know. He just hasn't put it out yet. It's crazy. He just hasn't put it out. He's like, I'll do it for sure. It was his idea.
It was his
idea.
Yeah,
100%. He's like, I'm gonna make a video and I'm gonna like call off the dogs to Danny. I'm gonna say I'm back. I had a whole photo ready.
You gotta love Lurch. Dude, he posted something from his Instagram yesterday, and it's the Chicken Wire, which is an amazing event. I know a lot about it. Haven't been his roommate for several years. It's in honor of, I believe, at their club in New Jersey where he's from, one of their really good buddies' dads who passed away in 9/11, and they do this Chicken Wire event where they all get together and have drinks and remember and tell stories. It's like an unbelievable event. And every time I see it come across, I get perspective pie and feel great. But he posted a series of Instagram things from yesterday, and one of them was just a photo that was edited and cropped in a way that you couldn't see anyone's face and you couldn't see anyone below like their shorts. It was just basically their stomachs is all that made it onto that Instagram photo.
It's quite an existence.
And I just said that's why he's the best. Like, you can't make that up. One of the other photos in there was like clearly a screenshot from an actual photo because like the borders on the side were still in it. And so it's like a couple videos, one picture that was cropped just showing stomachs. Another one was like screenshot cropped. So he's just the best in the business. And that is perfect. That probably 3 weeks or so ago, he's like, hey, we got everything sorted out. I'm excited to be, make sure that we locked in that I'm going to be a part of this thing going forward. You guys want me to put out a video? And we were like, dude, that's a great idea. And he hasn't done anything. He hasn't been, he hasn't been in any of our videos. He's been on the podcast. He hasn't put anything out about that video. So you just got to love Lurch. He's the best in the business when it comes to that.
But then I was texting him the other day about donuts, and we were a lot of detail going into donuts. So it's like, you get him where you can, if you get something he wants to talk about, he's in.
I love it. We got to get a catch up from Lurch here soon again.
Yeah.
But yeah, he it'd be nice if he'd put that video out. Okay. And then the last thing I've got on that front is our boy Alistair Doherty. The Corn Ferry Tour kicked back into shape this past weekend, made the cut, didn't have his best stuff over the weekend, but I still think he was like 4 under for the week. Winner was like 20 under par or something. So you had to go pretty deep. He is 68th currently in the Corn Ferry Tour standings. I think they're like 5 events in out of his 8 guaranteed. And then he's going to earn enough points that he's not just going to get that 80. He's going to get more starts. They do a reshuffle and the whole deal. Top 30 at the end of the whole season get their PGA Tour card for next year. He's 68th right now. So he's making cuts. I think he's made 3 out of the 5 cuts. We need him to get going on the weekend. We need him once he makes his cut. You get some free golf ahead of you, right? You're getting a paycheck. You got 2 rounds of golf. We need him to get going on that fucking birdie train and pick it up. He looked incredibly cute in his spring outfit, as Dan was saying earlier. He was rock. It's very cool to see all the new stuff that we get on a guy just playing in a legit Corn Ferry Tour event, trying to get his PGA Tour card and out there with these, some of the names that are out there too in the Corn Ferry Tour. It's like there's some real names out there. That Chris Gotterup guy, who's Lurch's best buddy, who he can't get him on the show, but they're like best friends. And he was like the #1 college golfer in the country last year. I saw he's out there. He was like 5 under at one point. So he's like right there with Alistair. They're playing with each other. And our guys just got all the spring new Barstool golf stuff on. So I just think that's really cool. Him and his caddy Sam, who's awesome, are just doing the thing. They're just trying to make it on the Corn Ferry Tour, rocking our gear. So they look great out there. Next week. Yeah, look really good. Next week we'll be at the Masters tournament. So we're doing our live show Tuesday night. That puppy sold out quickly. So thanks to everybody that bought tickets. We're going to be in town Tuesday. We're going to be in town Wednesday. We're going to be in town Thursday. We got a hell of a programming lineup next week. We've never done this before. We're going to do recap shows, pods, every day once the tournament starts. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, once the event for the day wraps up, play wraps up for the day, We're going to record probably much quicker shows than usual, but we're not particularly well known for being good at being quick. So we'll probably be the normal length, but we're going to put out a show every evening as soon as play wraps up on the podcast feed. We might try to go live with it. We might try to put on YouTube. We got to figure all that stuff out, but we're doing a show regardless that you'll be able to digest. And we're trying to get access to go into the tournament Thursday so that our first show could be a recap of us having a day at Augusta National on Thursday. We don't have any badges yet. We kind of did laugh about the whole media thing going back and forth. Dan's obviously credentialed, as he should be. He's been credentialed for years. We're not, as we probably shouldn't be because we're not journalists. But we are trying to get into the event, at least the three of us. I'd love for the producers to get in there too, but at least the three of us so that we could kind of talk about it on Thursday's show. So that's kind of what's coming up next week.
Yeah, very exciting.
We're doing For the Cut this week?
Oh.
We do have to do For the Cut this week.
Okay.
I do feel like we might have needed that break last week because, we were on the skit. We were on the we were on the schneid. Is that what
it is amazing how it goes because when we started, we were hot. I mean, we were hitting plus 900s and people are like, this is the greatest golf gambling segment going right now. And then, we hit an 825 and then we had like a plus 500 and it was like, this is the greatest. And then boy, we just hit the skids and that's what happens. That's the name of the game.
Who the fuck is even playing this week? I'm seeing Ryan Armour. He's a name that pops out. He's a Texas guy, like him. Today's show brought to you by the Barstool Sports Book. Nobody cares about your bracket, and that's why you need to download the Barstool Sports Book. That's an excellent point. You want to get a little skin in the game, excite your weekend. We spoke about it at different times throughout the show because we've just naturally integrated our lives with the Barstool Sports Book. But this puppy, it's got it all. It's got live games. You could parlay different things from different sports, games, players, whatever it might be. You can do it. The For the Cut bet is exclusively on the Barstool Sportsbook app. You can download the Barstool Sportsbook app and create an account today and be sure to use the code TOURNEY, TOURNEY, to unlock your $100 in bonus cash. You must be 21 plus. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. But yeah, boys, you can go get the Barstool Sportsbook. You can create an account. You can be sure to use the code TOURNEY, and you're going to unlock $100 of bonus cash. That's something to be excited about.
We've got some great bets for this tournament coming up next week. I'm very excited about that. And the little spring action, spring tournament. I am very, very excited about the things that we have cooking right now.
No, we do. We're thinking about somewhere. We're going to have a few in there that are going to be very exciting.
Really exciting one that I'm excited to see if it goes on there. And if it does, you're going to see us getting very excited for every single, you're just stay tuned and make sure you check our socials for when this does go live. We've got a couple good ones in there and it should be this week. So,
and just overall, the Barstool Sportsbook, the golf bets are far and away, they're the best.
That's what I was going to say. When you're in New York, you have access to all these sports books and you look at all of these and you'll check from time to time, like what's going on the other ones and you'll see what the odds are or whatever. And Barstool Sportsbook is so much better when it comes to golf betting. It's actually crazy. They offer way more than the competition. Way more. You guys can go and check this for yourself. It's night and day. For a regular tournament, Barstool Sportsbook will offer so many more matches, way more like to win the whole bets, all of that stuff. And then you'll go check one of the competition sites and there's just literally nothing. It's just like winner. They don't even have a For the Cut bet. They don't even have a guy to finish top 20. It's infuriating. It's crazy that these other books won't be able to figure it out. Barstool Sportsbook figured it out, and that's got to be your exclusive golf gambling sportsbook app.
Yep. Go download it right now. Create an account. Like I said, be sure to use the code TOURNEY, TOURNEY, and you're going to unlock $100 in bonus cash only on the Barstool Sportsbook.
I've got one. If you guys want me to
I've got one
too.
For
you guys.
Yeah, Dan, go ahead.
Oh, okay.
All right. I'm going to go with Michael Kim. Michael Kim, as a winner on the PGA Tour, who lost his game like as bad as you could lose your game. I think he missed 7 of his first 9 cuts this year, but he's bounced back. I think he's made 5 of his last 7. And I see him on Golf Twitter a lot. That's the extent of it. So Perfect. Michael Kim is the pick.
Okay. I like that. I'm going to go with Ryan Palmer, Texas guy, guy that we've had on the show. It was years ago now. I believe he called in. He's taking his kid to soccer practice, I think.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Always kind of been in our world, but like we never fully like, I'll see him and I'll say hello, but it's it's an interesting relationship, but I'm going to go with Ryan Palmer and that's it. No other reason why.
I don't know why I saw Armour and thought Palmer, but I was thinking the same. name. I love that guy.
Very similar names.
Yeah,
I might take a risk here on just
I love it.
Do it.
on a no chance. All right, I'm going Austin Smotherman. That's who
Great
I'm going
hair.
with.
Great
Valspar
hair.
Championship.
Is
He
that
finished
right?
T36. He's got great hair. I think this guy, if you finish T36 to something like the Valspar, you're gonna pick it back up in Texas. I think he's gonna make the cut. I like Austin Smotherman this week just because his name is fun to say.
All right, boys. I'm on the Barstool Sportsbook app right now. I'm going to scroll through some of these names because I like to do a deal where I get some odds, right? I don't want to do the old, we call it the D-Rap, where you pick like Justin Thomas to make the cut
The chalk.
because you're in the trenches a
I
little
had to
bit
get back
after
in the winning, back
a
at
500 record. So what I'm going to try to find a little bit of love here in the Valero Texas Open. You got to scroll. I'm going to scroll about halfway down this list. No brainer. 90-1 to win this week. Scottsdale resident bought me dinner one time. The man of Streel, he's been known on the podcast.
Hey.
Kevin Streelman. He's my pick this week. I have
Very
no idea
nice.
if he's been playing well or not. Incredibly nice guy. Where did we catch up with him at Torrey Pines last year? We did a little one of our little bump into videos. I think we did, but I'm going the man of Streel, Kevin Streelman. Like I said, incredibly nice human being. Nice soft demeanor about him. I feel like down in Texas, he's going to be comfortable. He's going to hit some good shots, play consistently, make that cut. So we got Michael Kim, Ryan Palmer, not to be confused with Ryan Armour, Austin Smotherman, great hair, and the man of Streel. Those are our four guys for the cut. Going to make the cut this week.
I like it.
How deep are we into this fucking show? An hour and 15 minutes? Hour and 10 minutes?
We got to talk
Long
about hockey
We
discussion.
got to talk
We had
about.
a
We
long
did have a long
hockey
hockey discussion. It's one of those things, We talked to golf, and then we got to get into some debates about hockey. I mean, the Islanders have the biggest game of all time tonight against the Devils. We're just like fighting our way into the playoffs. Whoever gets in the playoffs is just going to meet the Boston Bruins, which is a nightmare. But it is what it is. Well,
So best case scenario, they creep in and play the Bruins?
No, best case scenario is that they win tonight, Pittsburgh loses, and then they have some gap to then be in that first wild card spot. We are in the first wild card spot right now, but it's like we're 1 point ahead. So let's get a little bit of separation there. We have the Devils tonight at home. I will be in attendance. I'm excited because if we win, then we just keep moving forward. God, I'd love to play like the Carolina Hurricanes. I know that could be played back to me after something bad happens if we play them, but definitely a better chance to play them than the Bruins. No?
Yes, no doubt about it. I also shout out to our guy Eric Jacobs, who's the Jay Bespoke boy.
Mhm.
He's a big Devils fan, so he's going to be on the other side of this one. So I always think of that when I think of Devils. Been to a Devils game with him before, actually. I root for. Look, my life's better when the Islanders are in the playoffs because there's just more entertainment in my life. We like the Islanders; they're awesome guys, Clutterbuck, boys with kids, the whole squad. So yeah. I'm rooting for the Islanders big time, but
You're playing much better. It's been fun. It's been fun to just watch meaningful hockey. We always talk about it's about the ride. You got to get a cup at some point. Got to get one. But we've been doing this whole run without Matt Barzal, and hopefully he's coming back soon. So I mean, it's crazy to be without your the guy, and we've been without him. Brock
What's his
Nelson's the
injury?
guy now. He had it was a knee injury. He went knee to knee in Boston like 3 weeks ago, and he's been out for a while. But yeah, I think with a guy like him, like the way he skates, it's like that's his biggest asset is like crazy edges and just like going lateral as opposed to like north and south. And when you have a knee injury, it's like it's going to take more time for him than a guy that just kind of goes up and down the ice like methodically. He's fucking crazy the way he skates. So we'll see. I think he'll be back, but we'll see.
I'm devastated the Blues are basically rebuilding and got rid of everybody, and they stink because playoff hockey is probably my favorite thing in the world. You get the Masters, and then right after that, you got spring. Everybody's looking forward to good weather. You got playoff hockey, and we just don't have that. So that fucking sucks.
And we're opening up this new bar, so it'd be fun to do like a Borelli's watch party from there. That's coming up in like 2 weeks, so if that would perfectly align with doing a live stream there, and then Dave will say we closed the one Borelli's when the Bruins were going there. Now we're gonna close the second one. I'm sure it'll all come back to bite me in the ass, but
from the gallery, I got a good from the gallery that I would like to do real quick. Foreplay at barstoolsports.com.
Speaking of the streams real quick, Stu just sent me a text and he just read Happy Spring.
Stu diving into his pool.
And it's just him diving into his
fired
pool.
up.
It's his first dive of the year.
It's been warm in New York. It was 62 degrees yesterday.
First dive of the year. Stu Feiner. He's in the pool.
And the sun is back out today. 2 days in a row for the sun is unheard of in these parts recently. It's nice.
Patrick says, if you had only one golf ball, how many holes do you think you would get through at Augusta National Golf Club before you lost that ball and had to quit?
All right, so let's think about the holes at Augusta.
Water's not really in play until
11.
until the
Sorry,
until
what was
11.
the question?
If you had one golf ball, how many holes could you make it through at Augusta National before you lost that golf ball and couldn't play anymore?
Fuck.
I'm gonna say
You can hit an OB on one. That is possible.
I'm gonna say if we were Barstool Sportsbook guys, which we are, people should go download the app. I think the line would be like your most likely chance, the earliest a really likely chance comes is the 11th hole.
Right.
So I think it's not quite that deep into the round is where the line would settle because there's, like Dan said, you could hit an OB on 1. Yeah, you could hit an OB on 5 pretty realistically.
You could hit an OB on 4 as well pretty easily.
Oh, yeah, up into those trees or something on the right. Like we see guys do that. So I'm going to say I am going to set the line, though. I'd be like 10.5 because you're probably going to lose it on like 11.5, but there's a chance you can lose it before. So I do think like the goal would be, could you get through the front 9? I know, like Dan said, there's no water, but like there's still chances to hit a drive out of bounds or blade. Like on 4, you hit one in that front bunker and you just blade a wedge 100 yards over the green, like, and you just lose a ball and you're out after the 4th hole. So I'd set the line at like 10.5 holes.
I think it'd be earlier. I think the line would be like, I think you gotta take into account those. Yeah, I would say like 8.5 would be my number.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'd be nervous. 2, I don't know that you could. I guess 2, you could hit one left into that creek. Isn't there like a creek down there left?
But it's like far and left. If you hit like a snap hook, you could lose one.
We've been lucky enough to play the craziest golf courses in the world, and I get the nerves at every single one of them. For some reason, we've played Pebble a bunch, which is so crazy to say. It's like my favorite place ever. I have a painting of it in my bedroom. But like when I get up to 7, and I just like I can't get it done, and I wonder how many of those moments it would be at Augusta. Like, I'm able to play Pebble pretty damn well because I just enjoy the course so much.
Right.
Like I parred when we last went out there. I parred 4 through 10. It was crazy. I just went on a par train through the hardest fucking holes of golf ever, and it's like, would I be able to do that? Would I be able to like keep my heart rate back down? Like, because when I get to 7, I just can't hit the golf ball. I can't get it on the green. So like, would that happen on every hole at Augusta? Because Augusta's even that much crazier. It's even that every hole is 7 at Pebble, every single one.
I think you'd have to hit, like you could hit it anywhere left on 1 and you're not going to lose a ball. You could hit it almost anywhere on 2 and you're not going to lose a ball. 3, you like almost couldn't lose
3,
a
it's
ball.
impossible. Oh, actually,
4,
no. Remember Bryson lost his in the rough that one year and freaked out?
That was unlucky. Yeah. That was unlucky.
Yes,
it probably plugged somewhere.
I just don't know if I'd be able to hit the ball in the air. I think I'd get just like the dribbles.
That wouldn't matter. You wouldn't lose it if you did
that.
I know.
I just like, I wouldn't even, I don't know. I'm just trying to think of like how I would play that course. And I don't think I wouldn't hit a single golf shot.
That's wrong, dude.
I'd get
playing well.
You're better than you give yourself credit for.
No, but I think the moment would overtake me. That's what I mean. Like I think if I was playing in a vacuum, I could play that course. I think pretty decently.
I think you'd get there an hour and a half early. You'd hit the driving range. You'd hit plenty of good drives, and then you'd go on the first tee. Maybe hit a bad one, but like by the time you got to the 2nd, 3rd hole, you'd just be swinging a golf club. You'd be like,
"What'd you do on 17 at Sawgrass? You hit like on the back collar or something?"
Yeah, but I thinned it. It barely got on. I mean, it barely made contact with that ball.
But even that so was lucky. On the green on the island green on 17. Like you'd be fine.
But again, it's like the Dr. Brett McCabe stuff where it's like he's been able to do. I always had that feeling on every hole, and now it's like I'm starting to be able to get the confidence when I'm just at my like local club, and I can't get it out of me on these like big moment holes and these big moment. I feel the jitters so much that when I make contact, I go, oh, like I lift up. I go, no, I don't want to do it. Like as I'm hitting it, like I don't want to do this right now.
Do you think any of us would make it through the 12th hole without losing a ball?
I think we'd lose one for sure. I think we'd lose one on 11 for sure, man.
Yeah. Like there's a really good chance we'd be done on 11. Even playing it smart, like you're over on that right side. If you don't hit a chip perfectly, you're just in the water.
Yep.
Like that's where they bail out to know that they're going to like make a 4.5 or whatever.
Yep.
We'd bail out over there. And it's like, dude, now you have a harder shot than we had on the second shot.
I think... Yeah, no, we wouldn't. Yeah, 12 would be a problem. I've been playing a lot more and I've been practicing more. I
Trent's
still think
good right now.
Yeah, I'm playing really well actually, and it's
Let's
great.
go, Trent.
But I played yesterday, and I'll be playing well, and then I'll just pull a 5-iron. I'll hit it great, but I'll pull it like crazy. And where we play, it's surrounded by cemeteries. I just deposit balls into the cemetery. I'm hitting it well, but it still goes.
You got the long left ball. That's a tough one. Yeah.
I'm trying to figure.
But I do believe that's on the path to playing good golf.
Right, because it's less.
It's a solid strike. It's not wipey.
Right.
Exactly.
It used to be very wipey, and the irons would just kind of fall right, and it'd be kind of embarrassing. But now I got the pull left, and it goes really far. But when there's nothing but out of bounds on the left, I get in a lot of trouble.
Dude, we played Colonial the other day, and there was what hole is it now? We were on Valley with that long par 3. What is that? 4? 3? 4. Played like 100. It was playing like 195 yards from our tee box. Wind in the face. Trent Daddy pulled out a fucking 5-iron and hit the lip of the bunker right in front of the green. I mean, legitimately almost nutted this 5-iron 200 yards through the wind. That has never been in his game.
No.
And we're saying like he doesn't even swing the 4-iron because he's afraid of hitting it. Like if we can start getting that in, there's always been a huge gap between him hitting like a 240, a 230 drive when he gets one good to then like 175 yards was his next iron. And there was like, what do we do from 220 yards to 180? Like, do we even have a chance? Or do you just like duff one and like try and hit a 3 when it doesn't work? So now we're getting there. We're getting length off the irons. It's crazy. It was crazy to see.
Yeah, no, it's starting to go a lot better. I was texting with JT. We're all fired up about the whole thing. But what I was gonna say is I still think I'd deposit 10 balls on 15.
Yeah.
I think 15 it'd be a really hard hole for me.
Yep. I think it'd be a really hard hole for all of us. I think
15 is tricky for sure.
Like I don't know that we're going to be able to
scary.
Get there. And so we're laying up to a wedge shot on a downhill lie to basically a fucking peninsula that you have to hit up there. It's like, it's just I don't know that we'd make it through 15 at all, but we'd lose balls well before 15.
For sure.
Nothing's more frustrating than landing on the green only to 3-putt. That is true. That is correct. That's incredibly frustrating. We talk about putting on this show actually a pretty good amount. That and trying to find a helpful mortgage lender that you can trust. Been through this. Frankie's obviously been through this. Cross Country Mortgage, there's nobody better in the business. I did mention a couple weeks ago that I was potentially looking to buy a place here in Arizona. My information, my number somehow got out there, and I got, I don't know, 400 phone calls from random numbers in the last probably 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
And it really did open my eyes to like, I don't know how you would know who to trust in this whole thing, because I think everyone that's ever had a phone number has been like texting me about this mortgage and this lending and going, let me tell me about this rate. I got you on this pen. It's just used car salesman after used car salesman after used car salesman, it feels like. Thank God for Cross Country Mortgage. They've got a team of loan officers dedicated to getting it done and finding you the best possible loan terms available. They have an average close time of 21 days. That is ridiculously fast. They've got a wide variety of loan types, which means they've got everything to cover everyone. With huge variety of products, they cover everything from renovations to refis and everything in between. If you're ready to tee off on a loan, visit Cross Country Mortgage. Our short game sucks. It says this in the thing. I don't agree. My short game's actually okay. But it says our short game sucks, but our ability to find you an awesome loan is pretty damn awesome. So we'll go with the ad copy on that. That's fine. Again, crosscountrymortgage.com/barstool. So Cross Country Mortgage can take care of you through the home buying process. I want you to visit crosscountrymortgage.com/barstool. Cross Country Mortgage LLC, NMLS 3029. All loans subject to underwriting approval. Visit www.nmlsconsumeraccess.org. We got a big show coming up Thursday. I believe we got we're slated to have Trevor Immelman, Masters winner, and the booth guy now, the go-to guy at CBS, and Frankie's putting coach. We're going to do a little Masters preview. We're going to do a little Fixing Frankie recap, and we're going to catch up with our pal Trevor, I think, on Thursday's show.
The putting video's out. Go watch it. Fixing Frankie. Trevor's a fucking unbelievable person at being able to relay what he's saying. Super smooth, super just confident. And I got so many messages being like that. Legitimately was so easy to follow. when Trevor talks, that he makes putting seem like the easiest thing of all time, that everyone's so juiced up to go try it the next time they go to the putting green.
Dude, that drag drill, that video that went like off on TikTok, I'd never seen that before, but it makes so much sense. Like, just work backwards.
I know. Crazy.
Dude,
wild. I'm doing something weird. So he definitely helped me when it comes to reading. I'm illiterate when it comes to the green. So now I have a point to point at. It's all that, find the straight line, putt to it, and the ball should roll over where you think it's going to roll over. That's all fine and dandy. I do think that when I'm in like the 5-foot range, I still needed something that made sense to me to just get a ball to just go in the hole. Like, I'm missing way too many 5-footers, 4-footers. I have a lot of birdie chances right now. I'm hitting my irons good. My chipping's getting tight. I'm missing way too many scoreable holes. So I've been doing this weird thing. Some guy at the Barstool Classic went up to the truly putting contest and just stared at the hole from 15 feet away, and he nailed the putt. It was unbelievable.
This is
crazy.
So
So I've been doing this like hybrid thing where I read the putt like Trevor taught me. I do the whole process. I stand the same way that he taught me, right eye over the ball, the whole deal. And what I'm doing is I'm looking at the hole, and I kind of do a couple of like practice like shimmy strokes, and like they say, look at the target to, if you get a feel as if you were throwing the ball, like your brain should know how far it is. And what I'm doing is I'm looking at the hole, and then as I look at the hole, I kind of start my take back, and then I bring my eyes down to the ball, make sure I make pure contact. And it's been working for me. Like, I basically look at the hole the very last second. So I look at the hole, and then I start my take back, and then I look down at the ball and go. It's been like a very smooth from the hole to the ball, and they've just been going where I want them to go. And if they don't, they just like, they go the perfect speed. And I showed Trent that I was doing it, and how many putts did I make?
You were on fire.
I was on fire. I was like Taylor Moore from like 7 feet in. I was making everything.
But it's just wild to think you're like, almost at one point your hands and your eyes are going in different directions.
Yes. See, that's wild.
So we said that, and then I was like, dude, fucking Sergio putted with his eyes closed. Spieth looks at the ball and shit. Like, I mean, you see Kevin Kisner standing on like those moon boot things just to get like his stroke right. Like, I feel like you need to find something that works for you while also utilizing all of the stuff and tips that you get. So I'm kind of like hybriding what I learned from Trevor, and then something that just made sense to me.
Yeah, it's whatever works.
I might not use it, but
it's whatever works. You're talking about Nona McGay and how he did not have the, your favorite performance on the mic. He did have an unbelievable comeback. Did you guys hear this the other day? They were talking about reading greens, and they were saying, Brad Faxon was saying, all the great putters are great readers of greens. And it was about, while Scottie Scheffler was about a putt, and Nona McGay goes, I think maybe the best telltale sign for being able to read greens is winning the Masters.
Oh, I did hear that.
I was like, that's
he's right.
He's right. Yeah, you win the Masters, you're probably a pretty good green reader. But it's true. It is the most underrated skill in putting.
Well, that is like again, that's a very funny conversation for me, of like a kill time conversation of like, good putters usually like read greens pretty well. Yeah, if you don't read the green properly, you could hit the best putt in history and it can't go in. Like,
it's hard. There's like 7 hours of broadcasts. What are they going to talk about?
Agree. It's hard, but it's like
I'll listen. I want to be clear that I want Noda to stick around, and I want to listen to him because I just it's just an interesting perspective that he gives.
Notification.
You're just scared of the McDavid blowback. You're not trying to.
I'm so scared. I'm
step in the mud too much.
I got in a little over my skis, and I said something that I know that Alex is going to clip, and it's going to go, and then hockey fans are going to be like, "You're fucking nobody. You can't break 110. You suck." Like, it's going to spiral on me fast. So I'm gonna have to. Early tomorrow. I'm gonna tweet like, I want everyone to know that I have nothing but respect for Connor McDavid.
Do the Oilers
how do we? You should like live tweet the game, like how awesome it is.
How do we edit this in a way that like it shows that we agreed with you at the end? You know what I mean? Like we all like we definitely posed the question. We definitely posed the question, but then we were like, it makes sense. Like he's been in a bigger stage, Brooks Koepka. No regard. I mean, it almost doesn't come down to like who's more skilled, because that's like Connor McDavid's the best ever. So like. That has nothing to do with it, because people are going to be like, what are you talking about? Brooks is on live. He doesn't even play anymore. And Connor McDavid is the best in the league. Like, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about just being on a bigger stage. And I think if you win a major by yourself, you're just on a way bigger stage.
I think we clip it in a way where we just take only the stuff Trent said negative about Connor McDavid.
That makes sense.
And I think we conclude that clip with you showing the photo of whoever that dark-haired man was with a dark-haired beard at the end, and Trent being Dylan like, that's Connor McDavid. and we text that to Mike Grinelli and have them just put that on the Spit and Chicklets Instagram account. And tag Trent.
I'm gonna mute so many conversations on Twitter. Just gonna mute them. Just all right. Again, it's a notoriety thing. It's not a skill thing. It never would be. Rory McIlroy, is he gonna win the Masters?
Oh boy,
putting looked good. Chipping looked good.
He looks really good. He looks really good. I know that's, even though that they got screwed on the finale not being those two, like those two both are looking really solid going into this thing, and they've been right there. It feels like for a while now. Like the two of them were battling it out for the Tour Championship and the FedEx Cup finale. Like they're battling it out again. Like last year, it was literally Rory was second, right? And Scottie won in the Masters when Rory pulled out that bunker shot. Mm-hmm. So it's like, dude, they're fucking. It's kind of leaning towards something that's pretty predictable coming down the stretch, which should be awesome.
And isn't it crazy? Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I think I'm officially going to put money on Rory. I feel good about it.
Isn't it just so crazy how, and I also wrote about this, it's just like Rahm, he was God's gift to golf a month ago. And it's crazy how fast these things change. Now he was the clear favorite going into Augusta. Now most books have the three of them pretty much equal. If anything, Rahm a little bit worse than the other two.
Wow.
It is just like, what have you done for me lately? If I didn't see you, since I didn't see you on my television, I now am no longer thinking about you as a favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. That's it. That's all it goes. That's all it comes down to. I saw Rory yesterday. I was like, oh, there's Rory.
And Scottie too, yeah.
And Scottie. Oh, wow. Look at those guys. They can play. And then I'm like, they're going to win. It's crazy. But that's how it works.
Did Bubba Watson really serve grilled chicken breast and confetti cake for his Masters dinner?
I don't know.
This came across my desk just now on Instagram. I'm seeing a Masters Club dinner, Caesar salad with corn muffins, grilled chicken breast with green beans, corn, mashed potatoes, mac and cheese, and then confetti cake with vanilla ice cream at Augusta National for Bubba Watson. And fucking Scottie got shit on for doing his little Texas steak and the whole thing.
Did he get shit on?
A lot of people were like, it's soft.
Thomas Peters didn't like it.
Yeah, people didn't. Oh, yeah, Peters didn't like it. And someone at the club the other day at Colonial was like, it's just a soft dinner choice.
Really?
It's hamburgers. I like it. I'm just looking back at these old ones, and this one's not that good.
I think that's real. I'm pretty sure that's real. I did some Google.
He's from Baghdad, Florida, right? So, I mean, I imagine his dinner choices wouldn't surprise me if they're pretty similar to Scottie's.
So I saw this. This is in an article. It's a tweet that says a junior golfer, Adam, what was the best? This is talking to Adam Scott. Adam, what was the best Masters Champions dinner that wasn't your own? And Adam Scott said, hard to say. I'm looking forward to Hideki's coming up. I can tell you the worst. Bubba Watson. Pretty sure I ordered off the menu that night. That's a tweet that
Adam Scott definitely served some like nice sushi and like fancy nice food.
Yeah, Tigers was great, man. He started off with this is in 2020, the Augusta roll, tempura shrimp, spicy tuna, avocado, eel sauce, pickled ginger, wasabi, and soy sauce. Amazing sushi. Then he goes into the prime steak and chicken fajitas. Yeah. Wow. With grilled vegetables, refried beans, Mexican rice, pico de gallo, sour cream, guacamole, flour tortillas. And then for dessert, he did a dessert trio of classic flan churros with chocolate sauce. And what's this? Sopapillas?
Sopapillas.
Wow.
Like little, yeah.
Oh, you paired that with a 2015 red, oh my God, Chardonnay. It's just the guy fucking just dominates. He just dominates. If fajitas and sushi, it's just everything.
And who do you think picked that dinner meal?
What do you mean?
Do you think like that was do you think Tiger was like, this is exactly what I want? Or do you think somebody on his team was like, this is what you should go with?
It's such an honor. You have to he looks at every single option and that's his choice. It has to be. You can't just like chalk that up to the assistant. Like Robbie Mack is not coming up with that. You think that? No way.
I think there's a good chance Robbie Mack had a big part in that. That'd be my guess.
It's such an easy, just like, yo, what do you want for dinner at this like celebration of you winning the Masters? And he's just like, I'm in the mood.
My guess would be probably was like, generally this is what I'm thinking, and like just spice it up and send it to him. This would be my guess.
True. I don't know how detailed they get.
In my
That'd be
brain,
mine.
Tiger
That's
was
fine.
like, we got to have churros at the dinner. Like, that's
I
it.
can see that.
I want
I
churros.
can see that. I'm just saying, when you're going through like the specific eel sauce, I don't think Tiger Woods is coming up with
No.
I bet they present him with options. Like, here's what we got as like an idea of what
Right, he's
you
like, I
would
want
maybe
sushi, fajitas, and I want churros. And they're like, all right, this is one of the sushi rolls that we came up with. It's called the Augusta.
He's like, I love it. That's perfect. Okay. All right, boys. We'll be back on Thursday. And then, I mean, that'll be our last show before it's just Masters Week, which is incredibly exciting. So everybody have a great week. Reminder, Adam Scott tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. We got the G4 shoes are out on our website now. Hit it hard.
hit it hard.
Hit it hard.
Hit it hard.